Warning! The Dub Talk podcast contains language and content that may not be suitable for younger audiences. Listener discretion is advised. This review may also contain spoilers regarding the show or any other anime in tonight's episode. I ask that you acknowledge watching this at your own risk before continuing. The opinions expressed are those of the individual actors in tonight's review, and do not reflect the podcast as a whole. Now, stand back as our performance takes center stage. You look perplexed. I take it this is the first time you've seen a talking giraffe before. I understand. Please do not be alarmed. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy our review of Revue Starlight.
Alright, boss, I'm ready to say the lines. Shoot, I forgot my lines.
Line.
Okay, I'm just gonna No, forget it. I'm just gonna improvise this.
Line.
Hello, and welcome to the Dub Talk Podcast Review. This is the show where we, a full female cast, get together and perform theatrical works of Western productions for you to enjoy. More specifically, we discuss the dubs of anime and find out if they are worthy of the show that they are based on.
Whoa,
and in this section...
Whoa. You said all-female cast.
Yes, all-female cast.
Wait a second. Hold on. You mean I'm the only female in this episode? What is wrong with you?
What? No, you're not. Let me look around the room here. No,
Do you have boobs?
Jet.
Do you have boobs?
Jet, are you here?
I understand.
There, see. Jamal, are you in this room?
I understand.
There you go, see? And Lilac, are you in the room?
I don't understand what everyone understands. You guys don't have boobs. What is this? This is not an all-female review.
It's not our fault, okay? It's not about what's on the outside. It's about how you move. You know, it's about how you move your hips and how you wear that wig.
You don't have hips.
Yes, I know.
Boys don't have hips. What is wrong with you?
What's wrong with me? I was born without 2 X chromosomes. That's what's wrong with me. Curse you, Y chromosome! That's going down a sticky path.
Yes, it is.
But in case you couldn't tell, this is not an all-female cast. In fact, ironically enough, for a show that features an almost entirely female cast and is about a performing venue that is entirely female-based, we decided to make this 3/4 testosterone-based for this particular show. Aren't we professionals?
Because that makes a lot of sense.
Hey, what? Actually, that makes more sense than the show itself, which is a very...
Why is there a talking giraffe? I'm sorry.
That's a good question. Jamal, why is there a talking giraffe?
I don't know.
Jet, why is there a talking giraffe?
I mean, I could answer that, but we're probably going to get into that very soon, so...
Okay.
Let's save it for then.
Jet will be our source of reason in this madhouse. What is this madhouse exactly? I'm glad you asked. We are covering the English dub of Revue Starlight. Not Starlight Review, Revue Starlight.
Because we're dumb, and when we were picking shows, we actually said Starlight Review like morons.
You did! I wrote down the right show. I just copy-pasted it straight from the website.
No one needs to know it was specifically me. Shh! Don't throw me under the bus, okay?
Oh, don't worry. We won't throw you under the bus, but we will throw you under the banana muffins. Don't you worry.
What?
It's funny because I have bananas that I'm snacking on right now, too.
That's a joke, and you don't even know it yet. So yes, this is Revue Starlight, which is the latest production from Kinema Citrus, and directed by Tomohiro Furukawa, who You may not recognize that name, but he has definitely worked on quite a few shows that you are probably familiar with. More specifically, an underling of Ikuhara, who directed shows like Revolutionary Girl Utena, Penguin Drum, and Yurikuma Arashi. And this show is very heavily steeped in that same tradition of review style in Japan.
And and when we say very heavy, we mean extremely heavy.
We mean like this show is is a love letter to Takarazuka Review. If you don't know what that is, Lilac, what is Takarazuka Review?
Basically, they are an all-female musical theater troupe based in the Hyongo Prefecture of Japan. They're women who play all roles in lavish Broadway-style productions of Western-style musicals, and it was actually first adapted and put together back in the early 1900s. So,
yeah,
very interesting.
It's very old, and it's very steeped in the modern culture of Japanese theater productions. So,
yep, because Kabuki is elitist and dead at that time period. That was the reasoning. That, and because they needed tourist attractions and people to buy train tickets to come to fucking Osaka. Like,
look,
it was weird.
When you are starting up, like you were just becoming an industrialized country and entering into, the modern era, you need all of the tourist money you can get.
It's true.
To fund the giant robot productions.
The giant robot productions.
You can't build Gigantor without tourist money. Cha-ching.
It's funny because Gigantor was basically around that same time period in terms, like, if we were talking about the setting of the show, not the actual production of it.
So as you can see, we're going to be getting very historical here tonight, and
very theatrical because I'm here.
Yes, we have people who have been in theater. Although actually, I know Lilac, you have a theater degree.
Oh, absolutely. I have a master's in theater studies.
Jet, do you have any theater experience of your own?
My theater experience mostly extends to some stuff I did in middle school. I got a Best Actress award there, and I was too lazy to pursue it in high school, and I kind of regret that.
All right, but still a love for the theater, though, right? Like some appreciation for it.
Yeah.
Good deal.
It's never too late. You can join some community theater productions. It's never too late.
You're right. You're absolutely right. You can be the next.
Considering I know what town you live in, Jet, there is plenty of opportunities where you are.
There probably is.
Yes. Yeah. Considering the graduate school I went to.
Speaking of theater stars, Jamal, do you have experience on the stage yourself? Are you a thespian?
I did a couple of plays in elementary school and developed a serious case of stage fright, which I resolved till my high school years, but I've never done theater otherwise. Actually, no, I did do in martial arts, we did have to put on a couple of stage shows, so...
Couple of exhibitions?
Yeah.
You know what?
Okay.
We're going to need that expertise tonight, because not only is this show about acting on stage, but there's also a whole lot of combat involved, isn't there?
Oh, yes.
A lot of stage combat.
Yeah, we should probably get to explaining what the plot of this show actually is.
Thank you. So after that long padding segment. So, particularly, now you know this is a show about theater. This is specifically about students in the Seisho Music Academy. There is a group. We're following this particular group of characters in their second year as they are they're getting ready to put on the show Starlight. And honestly, we're going to cover all the characters here because this show is the characters. All of them are at various levels in their confidence as theater people. Some of them have higher aspirations as others. And this entire show is about following them as they compete against one another in this mysterious underground theater hosted by a talking giraffe.
I still don't fucking understand.
Talking giraffe to try to figure out who's going to be the leads, basically. Because if you've ever been in a theater production, you know that it's all about competing against each other in those auditions. No, I don't have, I'm not bitter about not getting the lead role in South Pacific. Stop asking me! So, with that
I didn't get to be Maria in West Side Story. Don't judge me.
You're right. I didn't get to be Maria in West Side Story, and I'm still pissed off about that.
God damn
what gives?
Maria.
I
just met a girl named Maria.
And I'll have to move on from that.
Okay.
So as for Now, this particular show, though, this anime itself, is interesting because this is actually a dub cast from Sentai Filmworks. Yay!
This is like the second or third dub cast we're actually covering. Because depending on the order of editing stuff, it's either Middle Management Blues or Revue Starlight is going to go up one before the other, so.
Right. If you watch that episode, you got an idea about what we thought about that dub cast. Now let's talk about the other one. And so with that being said, let's jump into who is directing and script writing this review. Now, I should ask, did you three thespians have any predictions? And now, if you didn't, it's okay, because this is, the Sentai Houston group. We may not be as familiar with it, so if you didn't have predictions, that's okay.
I do have predictions.
I also have predictions.
So did I.
You're gonna be proud of me because here's the thing. So yes, we're recording this in September. This show, the dub, has been going on for several weeks now. I have been able to avoid spoilers except for one thing. And I made predictions and I watched the dub in the same goddamn day.
This woman
I am
has
proud
a
of myself
serious
from this
binging
one.
problem. I am proud of you, but you got a binging problem.
I have a
you
time
gotta space
management
this
problem.
out.
I have a time management problem because work has been a heck of a time lately, so.
I feel you.
Fair enough. So, as far as who had the time to direct and scriptwrite this, I guess we should figure out what our predictions were. Jet, who did you think would write and direct this dub?
Let's see. Director, I said Shannon Reed on the basis of I had seen Chihaya Furu, and I liked what I heard of that dub, and I figured, okay, that's a JoJo thing. This is, it's a mix between an idol show and like a classical JoJo like Ikuhara thing. So I figured, hey, this might work out. So why not?
Yeah. The style is definitely in you could easily compare this to a sports anime, right? In the we're competing against each other to be the best that no one ever was kind of show.
Really?
I'm not even gonna respond to that. I'm not even gonna respond to
Pokemon is a sports anime.
God damn.
Fuck you, fight me.
We're not starting this again.
No.
Sorry.
Okay, script, I said Caitlin Barr. I honestly don't remember what my logic was there. I guess I was just kind of throwing names at a dartboard. I'm sorry.
I mean, probably because
That's perfectly fine.
I'm gonna assume because she wrote a nice chunk of scripts that came out really well. Because Haikyuu came out well. I think she wrote the script for Nozaki-kun. I'm just going off of brain here.
Yeah, she did.
I think you're right.
She did.
So it makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Lilac, do you have a director scriptwriter pick?
I do, but most of this is basically based on who did staffing stuff from the previous dubcast season.
All right.
And that would mean in my brain they probably have time to do another one. So director-wise, for me it was either going to be one of two people. It was either going to be Kyle Kobe Jones or John Swayze. Because they both directed stuff from last season. Kyle Kobe Jones being Devil's Line and John Swayze doing Doreiku. And in terms of the writer, this is more pertaining to Kyle Kobe Jones. Because if Kyle Kobe Jones is directing, more than likely there's a good shot he's going to be writing. He was the only writer prediction I had.
Okay. And Jamal?
I was somewhat thrown outside that board. I had Shannon Reed as my first pick because I really liked the way he handled the school life, which was probably a mistake to binge watch all of it before Halloween.
Oh,
good job.
Oh, you poor boy.
Good job.
Yeah, but I also had Kyle Kobe Jones because he's normally the go-to Sentais. And if he's directing, he's probably going to be writing too. But I also had John Swayze because I never really got to know much of his work other than Flip Flappers. I wanted to see, I wanted to give him a shot, see what he could do with this kind of show.
Yeah.
As for scriptwriter, my other two were Marta Bechtel and Clint Bickham because I guess, again, throw dots on a dartboard. I don't really know much Sentai writers besides those two in college at that point. I had more, but they kind of moved to Dallas, so.
You're talking Caitlin and Emily, right?
Yep.
I'm not surprised that would have been a prediction. And those are all really good guesses. I'm also going to join you guys in the just kind of guessing crowd. But I had a very scientific way of guessing this. I looked at the cast list for Food Wars and just picked the girls from there and put them in this show instead.
Good job.
So, yeah, we'll hear a few familiar voices from my own predictions. And for writing and directing, I had the same ones that you guys did, because I thought Kyle Colby Jones direct this one. In parentheses, I wrote, who else? Because he's like he's the poster child for anime directing over at Sentai. Done it for a long time, and like you guys said, a lot of really good shows. And as for the writing, I just thought, okay, who wrote Food Wars? George Manley and Marta Bechtel. Not for any particular reasons, but those are people who I know can write and are doing it in Houston, so I thought, sure, let's write it down. And I'm proud to say that two of us, got one of the predictions right. Give yourselves a round of applause. Because the directing on this one is being done by one super manly John Swasey.
Huzzah!
Yes, huzzah indeed. He has done a lot of acting and a lot of directing. In fact, if we were to look down his cast list for directing, you would be very surprised, because he has done things like Saint Seiya. He has directed Seven Heavenly Virtues. He has directed... Yes, I will remind you of that. He has directed, God, how do you pronounce this? Tanaka-kun is Always Listless. I want to get that spoken correctly, right? And he's also directed, just going back to like a really old thing he's done, Welcome to the NHK back in the day.
I forgot he did that.
Yep.
And I regretted not having my NHK sleeve with me when I went to PortCon and I met him last year. I was so mad.
You know, it's all good. It's all good. But you can't have a good directed script without a really good writer. And in this case, I don't think any of us got this one, actually, because it's a name that I haven't heard before. Joel McCrae.
Nope.
Are you guys familiar? Not from...
only as a production assistant, but not a script.
Okay. And that's probably why all of his credits, or at least most of them, keep saying disc authoring. But not all of them. For instance, he helped do the script on Chihaya Furu, both the first and the second season. I'm seeing any other ones here, because it all says, like, you know, Blu-ray and disc authorizing. But that's an interesting jump to go from authorizing the discs to writing the scripts.
It's a very intriguing jump, in all honesty.
That is... I'm like, how do you... Wow.
I mean, it's something that I think... Ever since the whole broadcast dub era has even started, you are seeing a lot more people who were, like, behind the scenes in other odd technical roles stepping forward and, like, taking on these major roles in a way. Like, because, example, Chris George was an audio engineer before he really started getting in the directing chair, right?
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris George was.
Yeah, you're starting to see that more and more.
Yeah. So good on Joel then. This is like, if I'm reading his credits correctly, this is like maybe his second time writing for a script. Like if we count Chihaya Furu as one show. So, hey, let's talk about this a little bit. Let's talk about how this directing and writing actually did. Jet, tell us a little bit about your reactions to Revue Starlight's directing and writing.
Okay, so I'm a really big fan of Kunihiko Ikuhara shows, and while he didn't direct this particular show, it's very reminiscent of that style, and it really helped to make this one appeal to me, obviously. Sadly, the last time Sentai dubbed the Ikuhara show, we got Penguin Drum, which is simultaneously my favorite anime of all time and one of my most despised dubs of all time. So, fortunately, the individual responsible for that travesty no longer works at Sentai, but it did make me a little bit nervous about this one. Fortunately, it ended up in John Swasey's hands, and Lucio and Toro was one of my favorite dubs from last year, so I was pretty optimistic he could pull this off. All that said, I was a little bit mixed on the direction, to be honest. There's a few performances in here that I really, really like. A couple that I found to be pretty solid, and a couple that were didn't really do it much for me. And that kind of caused my enjoyment to slightly vary from episode to episode. I definitely like this a lot more than Penguin Drum's dub so far, but it kind of felt like there was a little bit of spark missing for me in the direction, and I can't rate it quite as high as the other John Swasey dubs I've seen, which is a little bit disappointing. Script-wise, things are pretty solid. I'm also keeping up with the simulcast, and while this isn't like a total one-to-one translation, there was definitely a very clear effort to stay as faithful as possible. And for a show like this, where there's a lot of like small, little hidden context clues for like the overall plot, it seems like a very smart decision to do that, so I'm glad they did. And I also, again, appreciate the lack of swears, and that was one of the other things that upset me about the Penguin Drum dub, and okay, well, that's enough of a about that. I swear I won't talk about that dub again.
I remember watching the dub for that, like, when it first came out, and I only watched, like, the first episode of Penguin Drum in dub, and yeah, you could tell, like, this is not right for this kind of show. This is just way too trying to be hip.
Yeah. So, all in all, script is pretty good. Direction for me was serviceable, but not, like, super great, but, I mean, I didn't have any, like, super big problems with it.
Then. Lilac, similar thoughts or not?
I'd say my thoughts are pretty similar. In terms of the script, because I watched the first 4 episodes of the Japanese and the English in the same day, in the span of a few hours. So, in terms of the script, it pretty much is a 1-for-1 with the Japanese translation or the subtitles on High Dive. Maybe with the exception of like a few things here or there, mostly for the sake of matching lip flaps. But like Jet was saying, considering some of the hidden context and subtle little clues that you could like hide here and there throughout the show so far, I think it actually works to the show's benefit with the dub's benefit if the script is more 1-for-1 than anything. And especially for someone who's still fairly new on the script writing front, it's not a bad thing. Because you're still working on developing your own style of writing too, which right now it seems like the style is going very, very faithful, which is fine. It's not a bad thing at all, but it'll be interesting to see the development in terms of writing style with future projects, considering this is from what we know of at least, the second show that he's written for. In terms of direction, it's also very interesting. Because I don't see John Swayze directed shows often enough. The only shows that I've seen John Swayze direct are Welcome to the NHK, and the last time I watched the show was years ago, and I clearly need to watch it again. And, Doreku from last season. And first of all, Revue Starlight is already a step above Doreku in terms of the direction department, though a good amount of the fault on that dub is the show itself, so I can't blame John for that one.
No.
Doreku is a mess of a show.
Yeah.
So, I find it very interesting that, considering where my brain and my knowledge of John Swayze's directed shows is, we go from dark comedy, dark horror psychological to cute and fluffy musical girls. It's obviously a different contrast, but it actually, I think, is a good thing to show the range that John has in his directing style. And I think Revue Starlight, I think the dub is also really serviceable right now. There are a few performances that I think, as of watching 4 episodes, I don't think they fully come into their own yet. I can see the hints here and there, and I can see the slow progression, but I think they aren't quite where they should be right yet. Granted, again, at the time of recording this, I think up to, episode 7, episode 8 of the dub is out now?
Episode 7 is up. Episode 8 comes out later.
Okay.
I think on Saturday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it comes out around the same time the simulcast episode does, so.
Yep.
Just 2 weeks behind.
Sounds about right. But, yeah, so, granted, I've only watched up to episode 4 of the dub, so that's where my knowledge stands. So whether or not the cast has grown more into these roles and into these characters, for me, I haven't seen that yet. But I can tell that there's little inklings of that happening here and there at this point. So I do like where the direction is going. The cast is very diverse in sense, no 2 people really sound the same. which I appreciate a lot because they're very distinguishable voices in this cast. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Jet. The dub right now is serviceable, but I'm just curious to know how the performances are gonna grow more into their own and kind of grow in with their characters as the show progresses.
So Jamal, that's something like no one's having like a very strong reaction to the dub, at least in terms of directions go. How about yourself?
Honestly, I don't blame them because I kind of feel the same way. I mean, for one thing, some of the script writing is like to try to keep with like as close to the lip flaps as possible, as close to the Japanese as possible, to the point I can actually see them like stretching out the syllables, like trying to match it syllable for syllable. And at some points, it kind of feels off to me. I mean, if it was 1-1, there was a joke about Karen in episode 2 where the Hikari calls her an idiot. In Japanese, it's Bakaren. In the English, it's idiot Karen. So, and
that's like right after Karen gets like I think she's being confronted by Hikari, right?
Yeah,
no, she's trying to find Hikari. Hikari is just hiding from her.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
Hikari calls Karen idiot a couple of times.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember which one.
But given that this is Joe's second time, technically, I can kind of give him benefit of the doubt. I think Joe just started coming to his own script writer. It's going to take him some time to get there, but I believe he can get through it. Whereas with the direction is kind of serviceable for the most part. The casting, however, it's a mixed bag. I mean, it goes from like, for me, from like standout performances to good performances to just okay to miscast. One of which we'll talk about later, but the other, it was like some of the background character too, like in episode 4 where the Kara's trying to find Hikari and she sees a blurry picture, points it to a child, and the child says jellyfish. I'm like, you are way too old to be voicing the child.
Yeah, it's a similar issue that Devil's Line had actually, where a good amount of like the main cast as well as some of the minor characters were good, and then you get to the background characters and it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
it happens in a lot of shows.
Yeah, because I thought maybe, because I'm not too familiar with John's directing. I mean, like I said, the only thing I recognize his directing is Flip Flappers, and I thought that was solid. I think here, he may have been a little out of his element, but I'm hoping that will pick up soon, and maybe I'm just wrong. So.
Well, yeah.
I need to still watch Tanaka-kun, because I think in terms of, like, maybe, like, slice of life, more light, fluffy content, that might be more close. That's the closest thing to Revue Starlight, and I need to see how he went with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I'd even call Revue Starlight light and fluffy, because it's super melodramatic at certain points.
That's why I said it's the closest thing. As close as you can get. Consider, dude, remember, NHK and fucking Doreiku. And Ushio and Tora.
Hey, NHK was fluffy as fuck. Okay? That show's like my go-to feel-good anime of whatever year I watch that.
If you want to go with conspiracy theories, yes.
Well, I mean, talking about this show, I don't go to this for light and fluffy because it's this is like a soap opera. It is like super about all of the catty characters battling against each other and then being friends with each other afterwards. And how do you convey that into an English dub is the question. So the way that John took it was that he seemed to just be very archetypal in this regard. I don't know if they were put off by the negative reactions to both the Utena dub and the Penguin Drum dub, but they definitely didn't seem to want to get very ambitious in directing on this one. Even one character who we'll get to, who begs to be super campy in her French accent, was even played a little more straight than I thought it was going to be. So there's a lot about this that I can understand why they made it more archetypal. I'm not even going to say it was just like, it wasn't boring, it was just, it's archetypal. Same goes with the script writing too, because like I said, I think they were being cautious about being too liberal with the words on this, and I don't even know how you could make it more liberally adapted for an English audience. It's kind of the Azumanga Daioh or Lucky Star situation where this is a show that is set so heavily in Japanese stuff Like, this is a Japanese, 100-year-old Japanese theater production by Japanese characters, made by a Japanese card game company, that it kind of begs to not be westernized, even though even though Zuka Review is like super influenced by Western stuff. So I'm glad that they did what they did with it. They let all of the English actors speak the way that they were, and they didn't try to make them super flamboyant. You know, this isn't like Eurovision, which is what I thought they were going to do at first. I thought they were going to be like, let's make Eurovision the anime in the dub, and they didn't quite do that.
God, that'd be a different show entirely if they did with Eurovision.
I mean, you've seen Eurovision, right? Like, you know,
No!
how super
No, but I've seen clips.
Okay, that's all you need. You've seen like the saxophone guy, right?
No.
Oh, that gif.
Oh, I'll link it to you later. You people listening, you know the saxophone guy. You know who I'm talking about. I guess I want to ask the question: would you guys have preferred it if they had made this campier and more over the top dramatic, or they directed the actors to be that way?
No, actually, I don't.
No, because the thing is, I mean, they're aspiring to be actors, so it's already level where it is right now.
Right, and then the reviews themselves, they take on, like you were kind of saying, a more melodramatic tone, and I think it works, the direction they're going with on that one.
Now, as I guess I'm just gathering from everyone that no one said they disliked it. Like, this wasn't a dub that would have, like, convinced you to watch it strictly in the sub. It's serviceable for the content they have, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess it all is going to come down to the individual performers then. So, move over stage left over to the next performance, as we're going to talk about our what I have dubbed the two instructors of the group. These are the only two characters who
God damn it!
They're not students. The rest of the cast is students. These two they're instructors. They're the kind. Okay. Anyways, so who are these two? We've got Rei Sakuragi, who is the only teacher who we hear about. We don't see any other teachers at all in this school. She's the only one there, and she's like the homeroom teacher, basically.
We see another teacher.
Girls. I don't remember which one.
She was teaching like a normal class, and she wears like glasses and then like black. I think maybe like a dress or something. Or
okay, I meant more like, did any of them get named?
Okay. If that's what you referred to, then yes, she's the only one. But there are other fucking teachers.
Sure. So, well, actually, yes, there is another teacher. There is this long-necked individual who leads all the girls on their path towards their dreams.
Why?
Okay.
Why is this a
There's a giraffe.
Why?
Is his name Jeffrey?
God damn it!
Well, you know, he is out of a job, so I guess I'm not surprised that he took up a job at the Music Academy. Rest in peace, Toys R Us.
Well, I mean, he didn't want to grow up, you know. I mean.
No, he's a Starlight Review kid.
I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid.
All right, Jamal, since you brought up the mood with that pun, you get to tell us who you predicted.
For the giraffe, I figured somebody bold, so I went David Wald and Andrew Love.
If I could piggyback off of that, I also thought David Wald would be the giraffe.
While I like staying in the corner over there, I had Stephanie Widows, Genevieve Simmons, and Rachel Landon, because all of them could do older women very easily. And one of them I kind of piggybacked off of an earlier comment in the earlier episode, so...
Yes, well, Alex, put yourself back together over there.
I'm fine!
Sir. No, you're dying.
I didn't make any for the teacher, both because she didn't set out to be notes, because I didn't think we were going to be covering her, so...
Surprise!
That's awesome. That's one less picture for the editor to put up on the screen.
Giraffe, I was also thinking like Jamal was. I was figuring, okay, like someone bombastic who can sound like kind of happy but not like super over the top. So I based this off of the fact that I like had listened to the Ushio and torrent dub a while back, and that's how, okay, and he played a particular character with a certain. Well, no, he played a character with a certain kind of voice that I found to kind of match what I figured what the giraffes would sound like. So I said Jay Hickman.
Oh, lovely. I question your logic about what a giraffe is supposed to sound like.
And okay, like he voiced a talking weasel in that show.
Okay.
Ah, yes, I remember going to the zoo and being told by the zoologist, you see this weasel and this giraffe? They're practically the same animal.
God damn it.
Okay, now that we've got Lilac put back together, can you survive long enough to tell us who you thought would voice these two? And yes, I know that one of them you're spoiled on, so you don't have to make a prediction if you didn't make a prediction.
I don't know. Did you want to finish your predictions first? Because, I mean, me being spoiled on one of those could actually be a good transition to who plays these guys.
No, I'll let you go, because I also didn't have a prediction for the teacher. Ray was just like, I have no idea, so I didn't even write one down before I looked at the cast list.
Alright. So for the teacher, my entire cast list, I got at least one prediction per character, except for one. Or two in this case. So for the teacher, I actually had Shelley Colleen Black. I felt like she could be a mature sounding teacher. So here's the story with the giraffe.
Go for it. Take the reins.
So, as I said earlier, I somehow magically managed to avoid this show like the plague. In terms of casting spoilers and all that stuff. Except for one. And it was the giraffe, because the actor decided to constantly tweet on Twitter about the giraffe. But here's the thing. So, I didn't know the giraffe talked. So here I am, sitting down, like, okay, so this actor is excited to play a giraffe and is going to be making giraffe noises in the booth. And then I watched the show, and then I think I proceeded to text Andrew, and I'm like, why the fuck is the giraffe talking? This makes no sense. He's like, why wouldn't the giraffe be talking? Like, cause it's a fucking giraffe! But yeah, I got spoiled on the giraffe because the actor kept tweeting about it constantly. And then I had a misunderstanding, and I didn't know the giraffe actually talked in the goddamn show.
Well, fine, since you've been spoiled on it, you want to tell us who was the guy who wouldn't stop tweeting about it?
That would be one Mr. J. Hickman.
There we go. And yes, you were right, Jet. It was indeed Jay Hickman, the man himself who...
The weasel who is also a giraffe.
I want to point out that not only is he a giraffe, but his email address is thedude@jhickman.net. Like, that in itself shows you how cool... That's just awesome.
The dude.
I mean, I like... Jay Hickman, you have heard before. I guarantee if you've heard an anime, you've heard this guy before. Because he's been around for quite a while. Going back to stuff like the Angelic Layer days, he was Shuji Inada. Back to a modern time, in Amagi Brilliant Part, he is Takaya Kurusi. In a show that's kind of similar to this, Kaleido Star, he played the Fool in both seasons of that one. And is there one in here that... Yep, I gotta point this one out just because it's like the greatest thing ever.
If you don't point out what I think you're gonna point out, I'm gonna disown you.
I feel... Okay, fine. You want to say it? I don't want to disappoint you.
You're talking about Princess Tutu, right?
I'm glad that you said that, because I was like... I her by not mentioning Princess Tutu. But yes, what I know him best for is he is Muto in Princess Tutu. The manliest character from the manliest anime ever made.
Because all men must watch Princess Tutu. Real men watch Princess Tutu. That's the saying.
Yes, if we were all men, we would watch Princess Tutu. But we're not. This is an all-female cast. Speaking of all females, we should also talk about our teacher, who is actually voiced by Joanna Bonasso. And Joanna has quite a list of characters that range all over the place from older sounding to younger sounding characters. As far as older character goes, she voices the character of the dorm mother Fumio Naimido in Food Wars. She is Magical Ruby in Fate, Killiad, Linner, Prisma, Ilia. Yes, nailed it in the first try.
Yeah.
It's Collide.
Damn it.
And fail.
And fail. Speaking of failing, she also plays Yuzuki Seo in Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. And as one more for you, just to throw it out there, she is also Lucia Nahashi, I'll get that name right eventually, in Venus versus Virus. Obviously the greatest show with the word Venus that it ever made.
I don't think so.
As far as this reactions, Lilac, I want you to tell me what you thought of the giraffe and the teacher.
Time out for 5 seconds. It's Joanne, not Joanna, first of all.
I apologize.
Just making
My handwriting is awful.
It's okay, just slight timeout on that one. Time in. So you want to know about the giraffe? That's what you want?
The giraffe? I don't get. It's the weirdest. Like the show is.
Why the fuck does the giraffe talk? I don't understand, show.
It's anime logic.
What I hope in my head is later on in the show we discovered that the giraffe is a real fucking person and probably the principal of this goddamn school. But if I'm throwing logic into the show right now, it's probably not gonna happen.
No, it's not. Not helped by the fact that the giraffe's lips don't move. It's just like telepathic speaking.
Well, in that fucking regard, Jay Hickman has the easiest role in the entire show. Therefore, he has the most fun in the entire show as a talking telepathic giraffe of some sort.
But it's not a hammy role though.
No,
is
it's
it?
not. It's played. It's interesting because I think it's played brilliantly. It's a mix of like otherworldly being mixed with talking giraffe or whatever the hell this thing is mixed with. It's because the giraffe is associated with these reviews, with these auditions. There's also a theatricality to it. And you can tell with some of the inflection and the maybe little lack of emotion that the giraffe has, because the giraffe doesn't convey like huge bits of emotion where, because when you're on stage, you have to project and you have to like use big movements and go with big facial expressions. But even with a giraffe that doesn't really have big motions or facial expressions and doesn't have at least a lot of emotion to work with, there is still a sense of theatricality in Jay's performance, and I think it's actually really brilliant how this is done with such an, I'm gonna call him inanimate because he doesn't fucking do a damn thing, with an inanimate mascot character. I just think it's very interesting the kind of direction that this performance is going, despite Jay not having those lip flaps or having that emotion to really work with. It still has that sense of theatricality and the melodrama to it, which I really, really appreciate. As for Joanne, like, if I had thought about it, like, Shelley Colleen Black is mature, like, lower, like, alto kind of voice is the direction I thought the teacher was going. Joanne Bonasso is actually in a similar range. So I'm mad at myself for not predicting her. So I like her performance of the teacher, and she actually does have some fun moments as well. Like the end of episode 4. Hey, Anjo, Hikari, come to the staff room and make sure you bring all the people who covered for you too.
You're getting corporal punishment.
You're in trouble. I thought it was really good. I just wish, I do kind of wish we get to see the teacher a bit more. But all things considered, since this series is more about these students and these girls, it makes I'm fine with her not having a larger role, but the character, her performance of the character herself at least stands out enough to me to make it memorable, which is good.
All right, Jet. What are your thoughts about the teacher and the teacher with a really long neck?
So I don't have too much to say on the teacher because she isn't really around that much. But I thought the performance there was pretty good. It sounded pretty distinct, and and it certainly was, but also wasn't, like very distracting or anything. So I appreciated that. I wish I had more to say, but she was there to fill a void, and she filled that void pretty well.
Are you saying that we can't have a school without the teacher?
We can, but
But that would also turn into a school live incident, don't you think?
Spoilers?
I haven't even seen School Live, alright? All I know is this post-apocalyptic bullshit. That's all I know.
At the best.
You would also be wrong because there actually is one teacher in that cast. So
see, my knowledge is terrible. I haven't seen the show.
Well, again, that's why I say spoilers. But those of you who've seen the show know why I'm going wink, wink on that regard.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Okay. Now for Jay Hickman as a giraffe. Well, Jay Hickman was who I wanted, obviously, so that worked out pretty nicely. I definitely appreciate the way he sounds. He like his voice sounds very distinct and like refined, but not like super hammy. Like he's definitely having a lot of fun with it, but it's not going like so over the top that it becomes really distracting. And I definitely appreciate that because while the giraffe is like certainly surreal, it's it's kind of weird in a way. But the giraffe is surreal, but he's just kind of like part of the background essentially. So anyway, I was very happy with how Jay Hickman played that. I was pretty impressed with it. And like one thing I will say is that there were a couple of times where even though I knew it was Jay Hickman, I don't think I confusing it with David Wald. It sounded really similar to him for some reason.
Really?
I mean, that would still be funny if it ended up being David Wald. That'd be the funniest shit in the world.
Okay, but anyway, yeah, I liked both of these performances. They were very good.
I'm kind of interested that you mentioned that it was like he was having a lot of fun with it because like in my own thoughts on this for Jay Hickman's giraffe, it sounded a lot more reserved than I thought there was going to be. He had like this consistent announcer voice to him, like he was just the guy commenting on everything with an echo reverb in the back.
But I feel like that's kind of what the giraffe is supposed to be. So
he kind of is that, and maybe slight exposition dump if anything.
I understand.
I do not understand.
Yeah. I mean, like, when I say he was having fun with it, I mean, like, you could tell he was like, having fun, like, with the voice in such a way. Like, mostly the way he delivered his lines.
That's fair. Yeah,
I can see that.
I don't know how much more fun you could have with a character that is a stoic animal, is not making jokes, and has no explanation for why he's there.
Again, my theory is there's an actual like teacher behind it, but I'm probably fucking wrong.
It's symbolic, like all the animals have like symbolism behind them. The lion is about loyalty and respectability. The cheetah is about speed, and the giraffe is like I have yet to figure out what the giraffe stands for.
Good job. For some reason, my brain was slowly going Wizard of Oz. The lion is courage. Scarecrow is the heart. Yeah. No, Scarecrow is brains. Tin Man is the heart. My brain defaulted to Wizard of Oz for some reason.
I have read every Oz book. There is no giraffe in any of them. I'm sorry that we can't draw a comparison to what that talent would be.
Whoops.
Honestly, I've got more to say about Joanne because her performance was one that really could have been understated. There was a whole lot of like emphasis on the students, so there is a lot to respect though about her performance as the drama teacher, because she sounded like her voice was somewhere between a drama teacher and a math teacher. She's not over the top and cheesy Team Rocket style drama, and she's not Ben Stein straightforward Bueller, here's your class lesson kind of math teacher.
Hold on. Do you view all theater teachers to be bubbly, flamboyant, bombastic human beings? Because they're not.
No, but this is an anime, and we like to be over the top and melodramatic.
That doesn't matter!
I'm saying that this is what I think a good teacher sounds like from my personal experience. It's one who still has that zest and enthusiasm for the subject they're teaching about without being just another big kid. She's actually a professional at what she does. So yeah, good props on Joanne.
I was about to say, if you're accusing all theater teachers of being like a generic stereotype, I might have to fly up to Grand Rapids and kick your ass.
You have plenty of reasons to do that without this. So I expect you here in a couple of days. I will have the yaoi paddle ready to go.
Okay, good to know.
All right, speaking of people who want to kick my butt, Jamal, what are your thoughts about these characters?
Thank you very much. Let's start with the teacher. I thought Joanne, she was a authoritative. Like, her voice is very distinct. I didn't think this was the voice that'd be coming out of her, because the only time I'm familiar with her is her character in Food Wars. But I did like her authority, because especially in episode 4 where the rest of the students are covered up for Ikari and Karen.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, y'all are starting to learn how to act. You really think you're going to fool an acting teacher? To the point, I almost believe they pulled it off. To the point, I almost believe they pulled it off until she told everybody to meet her after class for their punishment. I was like, yeah, you can't fool that teacher. But Joanne did a very good job conveying that.
Yeah.
As for the giraffe, however, this is kind of a testament to Sentai dubs, because I don't listen to a lot of Sentai dubs, so I don't know who a lot of people are sometimes. Like, the last time I heard Jay Hickman was in Food Wars, and so when I started listening to the dub, and I started listening to the giraffe talk, I'm like, is that Jay Hickman?
You are correct.
Yeah, his voice is very distinctive, to the point, like, I don't know much of his work, but I can recognize him easily.
I mean, we got a lot to show you, man. We got a lot to show you.
I understand, but still, I mean,
clearly Jamal needs to watch Tutu.
It's almost like if only someone had bought him a copy of it, that he could we'd watch it at his own free will. But that would never happen.
You know, I can read between the lines, right?
I mean, if you wanted to send me a copy, I wouldn't be opposed.
And now no one knows what to get Jet for Christmas.
I guarantee it will be on the next Sentai sale, and I will probably be buying 20 more copies to send to people.
I already have mine, so you're good.
I will send it to the people who still need to be inducted into the cult of Tutu. All right, speaking of people who are big fans of Tutu, Jay Hickman.
Surprise.
Huh?
So, with that, I believe we've covered all of our educators, in quotation marks. Like, I'm grouping both Ray and the giraffe in there just because they're the authority figures of the show. For whatever reason,
there to be a giraffe as an authoritative figure, I guess. Enough.
He does stand kind of tall, you know?
That's true. You're
doesn't
not
mean jack squat. He's still a giraffe.
So, speaking of people who... Actually, no, I don't. I was going to go with the segue, but I'm not going to go to a segue here. Let's talk about students instead. We have gone from the teachers. We're going to talk now about the large cast of this show. And yes, we are going to talk about all of them. However, to save time, we have grouped all of them into pairs, into who they're best suited to go with. And the first ones we're going to talk about are the lesbian BFFs of the show. No, not that one. The other ones. Yes, those ones. We're going to talk about...
You know, that describes like literally every single one of them.
It kind of does.
That's why
Except
I said not...
Karen is in a love triangle right now.
Yeah. My point is that these two characters, who are Karuko Hanayagi and Futaba Isurugi, are the ones who have the most chummy relationship with each other. They're not confrontational. In fact, their relationship is that Karuko is actually part of the long line of famous... she was a famous performer when she was really young, and Futaba was like her BFF and also her gopher to like, she's gonna get her snacks and help her out. But as they got a little bit older, they both entered into Seisho Music Academy and are kind of in a mom-daughter, sister-ish kind of relationship in terms of Futaba has to take care of Karuko, and they are not really, not so subtle on the we love each other kind of relationship. With that
They're
said,
not kissing cousins.
No.
What's funny, here's the funny thing, those two characters, and I haven't seen that far in Sailor Moon, they are very, very reminiscent of Uranus and Neptune.
Yes, even I made the comparison.
Well, if that's your comparison...
I made that comparison too.
In that case, Jamal, tell me who you thought might voice these two lesbian cousins. Roommates.
Fuck you, guys. Okay, then for Karuko, I had Emily Neves and Genevieve Sivens because I guess I wanted somebody who could do a little soft-spoken, something natural. For Futaba, okay, before I go on, Futaba's the pink-haired one, right? I keep forgetting.
Yes, Futaba is the pink-haired,
the
Karuko
tomboy
is
short
the blue
hair.
Okay, for Futaba, I had Margaret McDonald because I figured the tomboyish character, she could provide that voice easily.
Can I just jump in
Yeah.
at this stage?
What's up?
Sure.
Because I also had Margaret McDonald as Futaba.
Nice.
Someone got in there.
Where do you
Wait.
say that? Because I had Margaret McDonald for Karako. Like,
Oh!
yeah, like, okay.
Wow.
Okay, I'm not like too familiar with Margaret McDonald, so I was just going by, so I was mostly just going down a list of names, and I was like, okay, she's done a few like soft-spoken characters before, so I throw her in here.
See, I went the route of Citrus. Like, that performance came into my brain, and I'm like, Futaba has a similar attitude.
Yeah.
So, why not?
As far as who I said for Futaba, like, okay, yeah, I was thinking, like, who could do a tomboy kind of, like, butch its voice, and who's in Sentai dubs. So my mind immediately went to Terry Dode.
Wow.
Understandable.
Hi.
I also had one more for Futaba before everybody jumped in here.
Sorry.
Yeah. I had
Tisk,
Julia
tisk.
Simmons for some reason. I can't remember why.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I think maybe it was the hair. Like, the Saki-kun, probably.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but without the
without the
polka
bows.
dots.
Bows.
And but she has
Yeah.
the pixie. But this girl has a pixie cut, though.
Should I just go with my Kuroko prediction, too?
I get. Yeah, we got your Futaba. Tell me who your Kuroko was.
Caitlin French. She's done some soft-spoken characters before, though more slightly deadpan, emotionless soft-spoken characters. So I kind of wanted to see her, do another soft-spoken character, but have more personality and more energy behind it. So I picked Caitlin French.
Now, did you make that prediction like as soon as you saw like one episode of the show, or did you get a little further into the sub before making that prediction for her?
What I originally did is I watched the first 4 episodes of the Japanese. All the while
Okay.
I was trying to pick names. I think Kuroko was one of the last ones I might have tried predicting for. But Futaba, I think after like 1 episode, I knew I was like, okay, I'm gonna predict Margaret McDonald. So.
Well, I just found it interesting that you guessed Karako for that because of she gets a little more sass and a little more energy later
does.
on. So you're predicting that you want someone who had like a lot more not just deadpan but more energy to the deadpan.
I didn't say
dead.
I didn't want deadpan. I wanted soft spoken, but have because Caitlin French has voiced
Yeah.
soft spoken characters, but those kinds of characters have been a bit more emotionless and deadpan. So I wanted Caitlin to play the soft spoken character, but not play emotionless deadpan. That's what I was looking for.
I got that. I wish I could say I had some of the similar predictions so we could keep less images up on the screen, but I had 2 entirely different guesses for these 2 characters. For Futaba, these are 2 characters who I picked because of their Food Wars roles. Futaba, I guessed Kelly Peters because she plays Ryoko in Food Wars, who's like the mom type character who dabbles in fermented beverages.
Gotcha. Okay.
I thought. That sort of maternal voice, because that's what Futaba is. You know, she's the kind of person who's got more maturity to her and tries to help keep everyone else in line because God knows they're not going to help themselves. Speaking of not being able to help themselves,
that kind of character, but go on.
At least just for Karako.
Yeah, at least for Karako, not for everybody
keep her in
else.
line.
But
Not
Go
for
on.
everybody else. Fair enough. Okay. And as for Karako, I picked another Food Wars character, and I picked this one just because when we first see her, she's like half asleep walking into the room, and she's got this like very drowsy voice to her. And I thought, Carly Hotch, who plays Now in Food Wars, the evil witch person who makes foods that smell really bad but still taste really good somehow.
see, I haven't gotten that. I never got that far in the dub, so I haven't heard that one. So I don't know what
I haven't. Ooh, boy.
I
You
watched
know what
the
I'm
first
talking about.
core because that was what we were covering when we did the episode. I haven't been able to touch it
Yeah.
since.
Okay, so with so many predictions, clearly all of us were right. Every single one of us, right?
I wish.
You couldn't be farther
No!
from the truth.
Not a single one of us. You were wrong. You were wrong. And you, watching this episode, yes, your predictions were potentially correct, but probably weren't correct because the two
Don't
characters...
accuse the viewer. They could have been correct, you asshole.
They could have. All right, everyone, reveal your cards. If you guessed Chelsea McCurdy for Futaba, you are correct. And if you guessed Savannah Menzel for Kuroko, you are also correct. Give yourselves a round of applause. Let's cover these two characters because none of us guessed any of these.
These are names
they...
I've never heard of before.
Well, take some notes because they've done quite a few things actually. Chelsea McCurdy. She is. You probably have heard her as Ayasa in Chivalry of a Failed Knight if you've seen that. She's Tsubasa in Gatchaman Crowds, and she's also Taiju in Doruko. I have seen Gatchaman Crowds. I haven't seen the other two.
There is a role that
but...
Chelsea's done that I know of. I'm gonna have to find it.
Okay. While you're looking for that one, Savannah Menzel. She's done a couple of things, and by that I mean I'm going to list all of the things that she has done, because these are the only roles she's done in addition to Revue Starlight. She is Ayumi in Girls und Panzer. She is Sarah in Storia della Arcana Famiglia. And she has an unnamed role in My Little Sister is Among Them. That is the entirety of her role. So we're talking about some relatively new names here. Lilac, I want to hear your thoughts on these two. Let's talk about the two lesbian roommates.
I stand corrected. I don't know anything about these two. even though Chelsea has done quite a few things. She's also been in
Yep.
If anyone needs more to draw upon, was in Fate Khalid. She was in... Oh, she is in Doreku. I was like, you said
Yeah,
I know, you said it. I'm like, it didn't click in my brain. My bad. Taiju.
Anyways. But let's focus on this show. So, Futaba, Karuko.
3, 2, 1, go. Think? I actually don't have any notes on Karuko.
Okay.
Probably... I want to blame it on the fact that Karuko hasn't really done a lot as of now.
Right, because you only got up to episode 4 in the dub, right?
I only got to episode 4.
Okay.
And she's kind of just been there. So, unfortunately, it's one of those things where Savannah, it's hard for me to really judge it. Like, it is the soft-spoken voice I'm looking for. She does have a little bit of sass to her, which I can appreciate. But I think because Karuko hasn't quite have much development right now, I can't really pass a lot of judgment on Savannah in terms of her performance. Chelsea, though, because Chelsea did get a little bit more time. She gives Futaba a relative tomboy attitude, but giving a different. But also, it gives a different dynamic and sound among the cast. Like, she's one of the more alto sounding voices in the cast, and that's something I really enjoy and I really appreciate. Like, that's the kind of tone I was looking for. It's similar to a Margaret McDonald from Citrus, you know what I mean? So I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
I like both the performances. I think, if anything, though, I need to hear more from Savannah. Because Karuko hasn't done a lot. She's really the only character I have zero... Aside from the homeroom teacher, she's the only other character I have 0 notes for. Because right now, the performance is just forgettable. But I think that's more because Karuko as a character is forgettable. So I don't want to blame Savannah. Because I think she's doing a good job. It's just the character hasn't done enough for me to really let it stand out yet.
Okay, now, Jet, I know that you watched a lot. You're actually caught up with the dub, right?
I watched episode 7, not episode 8, but yeah.
Yeah, so we're all caught up. So, you've seen the big episode where the big backstory episode for Karuko and Futaba, right?
Okay. Should I take my headphones off so that way I don't hear spoilers? Or
I mean, I'm not gonna spoil anything directly, so you don't have to worry. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I probably will when we get to Nana, so you may want to unplug your headphones for that. But yeah,
remind me of that.
Okay. All right. So getting into Futaba and Karuko, I'm gonna be honest here. Out of the main cast, these two were honestly kind of the weak link for me, and weirdly for opposite reasons. I thought that Chelsea handled like Futaba very well in like the day-to-day scenes, like when the girls just like hang around and stuff. And she managed to make her sound, very tomboyish without going like too over the top with it. However, like when it came to like the more dramatic stuff during her big moment with Haruko in episode 6, she came off a little flat for me. And while it wasn't, like super distracting or anything, it did take me out of the scene a little bit. And conversely, I thought that Savannah honestly sounded a little bit stiff during a lot of the more lighthearted moments with Haruko. But when it came to like the dramatic stuff in episode 6, I thought she handled that stuff really well. Okay.
Yeah. Did you think that she was like reasonably bratty in those scenes?
Yeah, I thought she came off as like reasonably bratty during that whole event, and I mean, while it wasn't quite enough to remedy how she sounded in like some of the other moments, it definitely improved the performance a little bit for me. I mean, I guess in fairness, if I were like being honest, I kind of like Futaba and Haruko the least out of the girls anyway, so there wasn't like a whole ton these two could have really done to improve them for me, but that's an aside.
Yeah, that's a fair thing to assess to the actors, because like I hate it when actors get hatred for characters that were kind of unredeemable.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
I mean, it's not like these two are redeemable. Like, they're fine. They're just like not as interesting as the other girls were to me. So.
Fair enough, because that's what you do in a show like this, right? You rank them and you find out best girl,
or best boy, which in certain upcoming future episodes there is no such thing as a best boy. They are all good boys.
Yeah.
Speaking of best boy, Jamal.
Yay! Jamal is here by best boy.
I'm trying to get back on his good side.
Hey, as long as you remember me, that's important. Well, to save face with Steph, I'm not going to talk about what happened later, but all you can say is, what is the deal with people named Karuko and Bratz? Because this is like the second time in the week I've had to talk about characters named Karuko.
Wait, what was the first?
Hanabado.
Oh, okay.
Except that one was a bitch, and I don't care what Andrew says.
Let me guess, Andrew likes that character.
He does, I don't.
Why am I not surprised?
Because that character's not redeemable. This one, she's just being a bit bratty for old selfish reasons. To which yeah. I found Savannah's performance kind of serviceable. I mean, she not only fit the bratty part, she fit some of the sleepy parts too. Like when you see in episode 1, she's just sleeping on the back of Futaba's shoulder.
That was cute.
Can we take a taxi?
Yeah, to which Futaba, it was what I expected. I'm just not used to Chelsea's voice.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It is almost akin to Margaret McDonald's, if I could say so myself. But I think for what it's worth, when she does come into her own later, it really does kind of matter how it does work in the end. I mean, the acting's on point. I'll give her that.
Okay, that's good. That's what we're trying to do.
So maybe in a similar vein with me, who's only seen 4 episodes, whereas the character hasn't really done a lot as of now. But it's kind of... Because I'm assuming you've seen more than I have at this
point. Oh, yes. I don't ever stop. Can't stop, won't stop. I got it going on.
I am not going to comment on that at all.
Smart choice. All right, so that leaves me down to say, what do I thought about Savannah and Chelsea? Because I'm going to actually go the opposite of Jet's thoughts on Savannah being less, like taking you out of the moment. Because I actually like Savannah's performance really a lot here. I like how she has like a slopperier speech pattern that she plays up for comedy. There's moments where she's she's trying to act like she's tired, but she's also acting like she enjoys teasing Futaba. We get a whole lot of that. We get a whole lot of the I enjoy picking on this girl that has basically been my manservant since I was age 5. And that carries over into both the serious moments and the comedic moments. So I like that she had more dynamic than just the character I pegged her for from the first appearance. I like more specifically, it sounded like she's got this dialect, like they cut all the R's out of her script for some reason. And I don't know if that was trying to emulate like a Kansai accent in an English form or not, but it gave her a voice that was very different from all the other voices. So I like that, and I hope we hear her in more things because she needs more roles. Chelsea, on the other hand, was probably the least dynamic sounding of all of them. I actually wrote on my notes that she was the most normal sounding of all the girls, and it's probably because she also didn't sound as young as the other girls. Like these are, I'm looking at the cast list, and I'm pretty sure all of them are like at least in their 20s, if not older. So none of them are actually high school students, and I think Chelsea sounded the least like a high school student, which took me out of it a little bit. But then again, she's supposed to be a tomboy character who is supposed to sound less feminine than the others, so maybe that was just my fault of not trying to see her as that kind of character. And it's just like, I hear an older woman trying to sound like a high school
students?
Yeah, they're in second
this
year.
Is gonna make the other sections a lot worse than I thought.
Uh-oh. I bet I know which one you're talking about.
I bet I know.
Like, look at it this way. Futaba has a motorcycle.
Well, yeah.
I'm assuming that you can't get a license for that unless you are 16.
Well, they are in their second year of high school, so...
That's what I thought. I mean, you made me stop and think for a second. Is it second year of high school or second year of middle school? I was pretty sure it was high school.
I'm pretty sure it was high school, too.
I don't know. Unless it was college, but I doubt that, so...
They look too young to be in college. But then again, this is anime. Stranger things have happened.
This is anime. All right, so we have covered 2 of the main cast of characters at Seisho Music Academy. But we must move on to the next set of actors. And this sense here, we have gone from 2 characters that are pretty good friends with each other to 2 people who are vicious enemies with each other. Because if you've ever done theater before, you've done any kind of performing art, you know that people can be competitive as fuck. And that's what we're going to talk about here. We've got 2 characters, which are Maya Tendo, who is who's considered herself like the class leader of the group, and also came from a family of performers. So she has a lot to maintain in her performance, and hence why she strives to be the best of the group. And she was also one of the lead characters in last year's performance. And she is in direct competition with Claudine Seijo, who is the blonde-haired French token character who was a child prodigy in the theater, which means, of course, as all prodigies state, that she is pretty good right now, but she is in direct competition with Maya in being the best of the best, and that is what we are going to talk about
If
here.
anything, these 2 are the divas, with Maya being like the prima donna, if you had to stereotype it in performance terms.
Very accurate.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. I mean, Lilac, you have stories, I'm sure, of people being prima donnas in the theater world,
absolutely.
right?
Absolutely, I fucking do. Like, you think there's enough drama in high school? Try being in drama club while having drama at high school. That's always a fun fucking time. Anyway.
Absolutely. Speaking of a fun fucking time, character predictions. Jet, what do you have any predictions for Maya and Claudine?
So for these 2, I was trying to think. Who what Sentai do I know can sound like very classy? And in like Claudine's case, like classy and haughty, while in my case, like very classy and refined. So for Maya, I said Stephanie Whittles. Mostly because I was thinking of a couple of the characters he did in Uchiho and Tora, and I know she has like a pretty good authoritative voice, so I figured that would work. And for Claudine, I said Carly Mosier because I know Carly Mosier does hottie very well. So
you're absolutely right. Jamal.
For Maya, I didn't realize this. I have what I call the 3 M's. Maggie Fleckno, Margaret McDonald, and Molly Searcy.
How did you do that?
Wait. Did you say this was for Maya or Claudine?
Maya.
Okay, interesting.
He picked 3 M's for Maya.
That was completely unintentional. I just realized it.
I believe that was on accident.
Yeah, but Maya, like you said, she's pretty much a diva. Like, who could pull that off? But I don't know. I just went with my heart pretty much. As for Claudine, you definitely want somebody who could easily be a diva or be a bit out there at times. I had Lucy Christian. I also had Carly.
This is getting funnier to me.
I also
Don't
had
pick on my
Genevieve
Lucy.
Simmons. For reasons.
I don't know anything that Genevieve Simmons, or at least not coming to my head.
Love, Trinity, and Other Delusions.
Oh, yes. Thank you for refreshing my brain.
That's not
okay. I got
that's
it
not
now.
what I was thinking of though. But
Lilac, your predictions for the divas.
Okay,
of the
so
troupe.
Jamal, let me get this straight. One of your predictions for Maya was Molly Cersei, right?
yeah,
And one of your predictions for Claudine was Lucy Christian, right?
yes, you had them vice versa, didn't you?
I did have them vice versa. I had Lucy as Maya, and then I had Molly as Claudine. So Lucy, I know can play the prima donna role. I know that she can do it. Like, she can bring that attention to herself, and especially as considering Maya is a veteran performer in and of herself, let's have more of a veteran voice coming in and taking on that role. And as for Molly, I don't 100% remember why I picked Molly as Claudine, but I'm like, you know what? I feel like for some reason, I feel like she can do it. So I just kind of put her in there. But yes, I reversed it.
That's really interesting. But
It is. That's why I was like, this is funnier and funnier to me when Jamal was going through his.
Oh,
like,
that's
it's
why
getting
you said it was funny. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Because I was like, he predicted the two people I had, but it was flipped around.
You know what's ironic?
What?
Out of my entire list of predictions, I had 5 people right, but all of them in the wrong place.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let's talk about some wrong predictions then, because I'm gonna throw my predictions out, and I'll just preface and say that I got something finally right here, but I won't tell you what yet. For Maya, I picked Rachel Landon, who played Mito Meat in Food Wars, because she's got that huskier voice, and that's why I thought Maya would have more of an English adaptation, because she presented herself as prim and proper, but also slightly older, so she would have that huskier voice to her. Yeah,
I can hear.
And then for Claudine, I needed another Food Wars character, and I'm like, okay, Claudine is the stereotypical, the token European character, and in Food Wars, that was Alice, who was Erina's cousin, who was voiced by Christina Kelly, and I'm like, I'm throwing all the Food Wars names out here, so those are my predictions. Let's talk about some casting predictions, shall we? So, finally!
You just said let's talk about casting predictions. We just did!
I finally got one right! I'm so happy! Because
Which one was
these
it?
two characters, Maya is voiced by Olivia Swayze, and Claudine Seijo is indeed voiced by Christina Kelly. Woo! I'm gonna do a tiny victory lap there. But all your predictions were good. All you were good.
Proud of you, Noah.
Like Jamal said, though, like I've also got some actors right. They're just in the wrong place. But this is the one that I got right in this section here, so I'm gonna take the victory on that one. Speaking of Christina Kelly, you have definitely heard her as Alice in Food Wars. You have heard her as Loki in the Don Manchi franchise, or the Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon franchise. And she is also... I'm just going to say the first name because I always get the full name wrong. So she's Sylphan Ford in Himoto Umaru-chan. Thanks.
There you go.
Olivia Swayze has been in not quite as many things, but the two named roles that I could find for her was she is Mamaga in Girls und Panzer. I gotta put the und in there, it's not and she is Belphegor in Seven Heavenly Virtues. So she hasn't been in a whole lot. She has been around for a while, though. Like, she was actually somewhere in Welcome to the NHK, but just hasn't had as many named roles yet. So this is kind of interesting. Now, on the topic of interesting, Jamal, what do you think about Olivia and Christina?
I'm gonna be real with you. Maya as a character is kind of a weak link to me because she doesn't really stand out as much unless she's faced off against Claudine. And for what it's worth, Olivia Swayze for what I've heard, she did a pretty good job. Just Maya doesn't really do much for me. And Claudine, well, first off, I can't get over the fact, because 3 out of 4 of us have seen this show, she looks like Kokoro from Darling in the Franxx.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't get over that fact, but I thought Christina was actually one of the standout performances to me, because maybe because of the French part of Claudine, like, she can be serious when she needs to be, but she also comes off a little bit foppish at times, especially in episode 4.
Covering for Karen and Hikari.
Yeah, and I think it was something of note. I think Noah brought to our attention that it was actually her that was speaking French. And
it was, because this show has a lot of Japanese speaking singing in it. And so they did not dub that at least in the dubcast version of it. So I wasn't sure if they would also be dubbing in the French portion of it. But yes, the dub, the French portions
I'm pretty
were
sure
by
the
Christina.
not singing was, well, I mean, Sendai usually doesn't dub songs anyway, but I'm pretty sure, like the usual license shenanigans probably didn't help either.
Yeah, and especially since the dubcast program is still fairly new, the possibility of them even dubbing the songs at that breakneck pace, since they've never done that before still. I mean, it makes sense why they wouldn't consider dubbing them now, if they were to dub them at all.
Right, but I think we're fine with that, right?
Christina, I have a very high opinion of Christina now, because I'm really starting to like her voice. I mean, I haven't heard her in as many roles, like, other than Alice in Food Wars and in Concole, believe it or not. So,
oh, okay.
But I thought she did pretty good. That's all I have to say.
Cool. We need to get you to watch Umaru-chan, though, because she is hilarious at Sylphan Ford.
You are not getting me anywhere 100 feet near that show.
Jamal's like, fuck that noise. I ain't touching it with a 10-foot pole.
I watched one episode that's like, yeah, this ain't funny.
Oh, okay. Fine, that's getting cut out.
He just downright refuses at this point.
Well, I was going to say, I'm glad you used the word confident to describe her character and her voice, because that was the key word I had written down for Olivia, was she exudes confidence. And that's the most, like, she's got the most normal-sounding voice, I think. Actually, no, not the most normal-sounding. I'm sorry, that was Chelsea. But she is pretty normal. And I like that, though, because it means that she's got that air of confidence about her to someone that you feel like could take on almost any role in a theater production. You know, like, they're not just reserved to comedy or just drama. They can insert themselves into any kind of theater role that comes up to be the lead character for.
Okay.
And she was also less bitchy than I expected in the voice portion of it. Because you just see her walking in and like, all right, class. Lead performer Maya Tendo reporting for duty. But she wasn't, you know, she was just she was like the tall idol of the school. And she definitely does stand out a lot more when she's in direct contrast to Claudine, who I just want to say I like Claudine. I like Claudine a lot. And I like Christina's performance of this because she's got that usual snobbish voice to her that I don't dislike. You would think you would dislike that, but it's more like the kind of person who has, who just thinks they're hot shit, and you kind of have to agree with them. Like, yeah, I could see that. Yeah, you're kind of hot shit. It also probably helped that the first time that we see Claudine enter into the show, she's singing, and Christina's got a pretty good voice. So the overall performance I got from all this is that they're pretty good. The only thing I can say negatively is that I don't think Christina's French is quite as convincing as they would have wanted it to be. But this is a very cheesy kind of show, and we're not French speakers, so I'm not sure if I'm free to judge that or not.
Wait, I think at some point I did hear that Christine spoke French, like she learned French a long time ago. I have to check.
In all honesty, I think it's accurate.
Yeah.
I mean, I've taken French classes before.
I mean, it might just be because I watched it was in episode 4 where she's like pretending to faint, like, I can't see the lights.
Well, she was also supposed to be slightly overdramatic and acting like she's passing out, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that probably was a fault on my part. It's just one of those things where it takes you out of the viewing experience, you know, and you're reminded that you're listening to a dub. But that might just be a fault of them keeping the French in there, which honestly I'm glad they kept. So that's that. I'm overly critical to my divas just because I know that I'm a diva at my heart as well.
You are not a diva.
Oh, you did not see me back in high school.
No, I didn't. I don't think I want to. If you're so energetic and hyper now, God, you were probably like sugar-induced energy. Like you could not slow down Energizer bunnies and shit like that.
I see it would be annoying, but I had a friend in high school who was exactly like that. and he's still very much like that. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you don't grow out of it. Let me say, like, you should have seen me in The Wizard of Oz, because I was one of the lead performers of the Jitterbug sequence. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, God damn it. You sure you weren't in the Lollipop Guild?
Surprisingly enough, no, they did not ask me to be in that. They asked me to be part of the Munchkins, the town mayor group entourage.
Well, at least you had the hype for that.
Everyone was in the Munchkin scene. My wife was in the Munchkin scene, and she never did theater.
It's because Noah's short.
He's the
shortest of us all, actually. It's the funniest shit.
Just talk, you Samuel Beckett fangirl.
I will enjoy my Godot. I will go wait for Godot. Thank you very much. Maybe throw in Caucasian chalks are thrown in for good measure. Anyway, 2 different shows entirely. And if you know those shows, then Jesus Christ, good for you.
This is why you don't put 2 theater people in the same room together.
No. And talk about a theater-esque kind of show. No. Anyway. So I'm gonna start with Christina as Claudine, because I think if I had to describe, like, stereotyping, like, Maya and Claudine is definitely the diva. Maya, I would say, is the prima donna. Because Claudine has this kind of attitude that's very reminiscent of, like, a spoiled, snooty diva of sorts. And Christina definitely portrays that very well, I feel. Snooty attitude, but she also has such a strong will and determination that we find out, at least pretty early on. I think it was like episode 3 or 4, where we kind of discover that she really, despite her having this kind of sour attitude, she does actually give a shit, and she wants to progress further than where she's been before. So that kind of determination I have to give Christina full credit for, because that comes off very well. The surprise, actually, between the two of them, though, I'm gonna have to say is Olivia. Because I actually really enjoyed Olivia a lot. For not having that many credits under her belt, Olivia has such a strong stage presence and a maturity to Maya. To which, considering Maya, again, the prima donna stereotype we're going for here, she has to have a stage presence, which Olivia, I think, portrays that very well in Maya, to the point where it's confident, but slowly leaning on the border of arrogance at the same time. Because you just know, I can sense it, probably because this is usually how this kind of stuff works. Maya is probably going to fail somewhere along the way. You can tell that something, like, I can sense it with shows like this, where, and maybe it's just a stereotypical trope, where that confidence will lead to full-fledged arrogance, and Maya will just see a breaking point where she just ends up failing. So I kind of see that happening. I could be wrong. That might not be the direction the show ends up going with it. But the fact that Olivia carries such a strong presence in Maya for her performance, and that maturity with such confidence leaning towards that slight arrogance at the same time, I really have to commend Olivia. Like, I think it's one of the stronger performances of the entire show, in my honest opinion, because of that.
Wow.
She has a really strong presence, and considering the kind of character Maya is, and it calls for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Olivia is doing very well with that.
It's kind of telling that even as far you're only in episode 4,
Correct.
the rest of us are like almost like 2/3 of the way done with the show, and we still can't quite tell where this show is going.
Oh God, no!
I am watching a simulcast, so I kind of know where they do go with where they do go with Maya, and yeah, it's definitely not what we need to expect, but yeah.
Oh, interesting.
To be continued.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, but by the time this episode comes out, I believe that the full dub should be out too, actually.
In theory,
So,
yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So, all right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. When we return to your seats for not the diva performance, but you can't have a theater troupe without team moms. You need performers who are also really good at leading and instilling leadership and confidence into the rest of the troupe. And for that end, we are going to talk about the 2 team moms of the group. We're going to talk about the class president, Juna Hoshimi, who is the token glasses character who is not only the class president, but early on is also shown to be the one who is trying to get to be just as good as the other team members, or the other troop leaders, by partaking in the audition. So it's like has that very, I'm just an average performer, but I want to be the best I can be. I want to shine, which is a good way to start the show out. And we also get to talk about Banana! I mean, Nana Aoba.
It's not a Daiba.
It's
Daiba.
Daibu.
Diabetes. I wrote it
God damn it. Considering the amounts of treats she makes, you're not wrong.
She is the team mom who bakes and takes care of and is a warm lap to rest your head on when you're not feeling well, and is also in a bit of a conundrum because she is not considering sticking with the acting troupe. She's actually considering moving on to screenwriting instead, which creates a little bit of a conundrum in the group, which we can talk about a little bit. But you can't have those character dynamics unless you have actresses to voice them. Jet, your acting predictions.
Okay, so let's see. For Juna, I said Maggie Flecknoway because I know because I've seen her in a few things that I know she can do, she can do serious girls very well, so I figured she'd be a solid fit here. And for Nana, I said Kira Vincent Davis, because Kira Vincent Davis has done that. She's done her share of teen moms, and and she's also had her fair share of very energetic roles, so I figured she'd be a good fit.
True. I guess since we're talking about Team Mom, Lilac.
Of course, we have to go to me. Of course we do.
I'm sorry, you... Mom, please, can we go to McDonald's?
We're not going to McDonald's, we have food at home.
McDonald's.
No. Can I just tell Can I just tell a quick little story? Real quick. I know this is a tangent. So, I think it was a week after we got back from A-Fest. I'm at work. It's like a Saturday or Sunday afternoon or something. All of a sudden, Noah's trying to call me. And I'm like, I'm busy. What the hell? Because I was on the other phone. So I just let it go. He leaves a voicemail for me saying, I just wanted to tell you that I am currently at McDonald's. I had to call him back immediately after that. I'm like, are you serious right now? You're at McDonald's? He's like, absolutely. And I have my chicken nuggets. God damn it.
You're welcome.
But anyway, predictions. I had 2 for Juna, actually. Because Juna to me... As someone who personally has been kind of in her shoes throughout high school, I found Juna to be probably the most relatable character to me for this show. So I was trying to shoot for voices that weren't, to kind of balance things out, that weren't the peppy, higher pitched kind of voices, and something similar to a Futaba, something similar to maybe a Maya, you know what I mean? So I had 2, and I picked Christine Auten and Carly Mosier as possible for those 2.
Okay.
As for Nana, I copped out. I copped out because this is a very peppy, energetic character. Not too energetic because there is a different character for that one, and her name is Karen. But what I ended up going with for Nana, I actually went with Lucy Christian. Because I know she can play those fun, energetic, and yet slightly maternal kind of characters. So I was like, let's put Lucy in here.
It's very telling that we've had predictions for Lucy Christian so far in this episode for both the stoic, serious characters and the more maternal characters as well. It's kind of telling that she has voiced every type of character in her career.
Versatility is a good thing.
It is. And not only voice them, but voice them well.
Yes. Anyway, that's all I got.
So, alright, Jamal, what you got?
For Nana, I kind of went along the same method of picking someone who could be kind of muddy, but ironically, I had Kelly Peters because of Ryoko in Food Wars. Mm-hmm. I had Sarah Ornelas for, ironically, in hindsight, she voices Nana Ebina in Umaru-chan.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I forgot about that.
I don't know how he managed that, but I also had Emily Neves because I guess, the soft-spoken, quiet type, motherly type, and she's also a screenwriter too, so I figured this could play off as well.
Yeah, that would have been a little too perfect, now that you mention it.
Yeah, actually would have.
As for Junior, I went with someone who could play studious very well, and I had Brittney Karbowski because of Food Wars.
I'm so glad we're all on the Food Wars.
I can assure you that none of the Food Wars predictions were any part intentional. I just went with what could actually fit. What was the first name that came to mind? I also had Hilary Haig because of her character in Full Metal Panic.
Okay.
And I had Marty Searcy for what? I don't remember why I picked Marty Searcy, but I guess either Maggie Brilliant Park or Kami Ga Kill.
Ah, okay.
I guess.
I still need to see the dub for Amagi, but I can see why.
Yeah. How about this? We'll stop the recording. We'll all go watch Amagi, and then we'll come back and we'll pick up.
We're so close to finishing this.
Okay, fine. We'll watch Amagi later.
Yes, we can watch Amagi later.
So my predictions were also Food Wars related, like entirely Food Wars. As for Juna, Monica Rial has to be on a cast list somewhere because she jumps back and forth between Sentai and Funimation, and she plays June in that show. And so I'm like, Juna, Monica Rial. There we go.
Of course.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
Of course. And I feel like I should make this a game. Can you predict the next one?
No,
I won't do that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, do you want to guess which Food Wars actress is going to be Nana?
I can guess. You want me to guess?
Sure. I'll let you guess.
You picked Lucy Christian, didn't you?
No, but someone who works very closely with her. So I'll give you half of a cookie for that guess.
Jad Sexton?
No, but I've got her later on, so you get the other half of the cookie.
Hey, so do I.
All right, so the Nana prediction I had was the character who makes medicinal food in Food Wars, and that was Brittney Karbowski. And she's got a slightly older sounding voice, if you've heard her before. And so I thought, like, Nana's also supposed to be around the same, they're the same age, but as the other characters, but she sounds a bit more mature. So I thought, Brittney Karbowski, good voice, good girl all around. And I believe now we should reveal from the curtains who voices who, because Lilac, you get 2 cookies for getting one of these right.
I like what kind of, wait, hold on. What kind of cookies are these?
They are white chocolate cranberry.
Ew.
Really? Oh, okay, fine. They are peanut butter chocolate chip.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone likes peanut butter and chocolate.
I just like peanut butter in general, so.
Alright, fine. It's peanut butter with peanut butter chip.
Yes! Double the peanut butter.
Right,
I win, bitches. My reward is double the peanut butter cookies. Yes!
Alright, while she's munching on that, Nana Daiba is voiced by Lucy Christian. And Juna Hoshimi is voiced by, and I don't think anyone got this one, Shanna Emmerich.
Shannon, not Shanna.
No,
it sounded like Shanna.
Shanna to me too.
Sounded like Shanna.
Shannon. 2 N's and an N on the end.
Sorry, guys.
And why should you know-
Technical difficulties because Noah's mic has been cutting in and out a little bit.
Oh, anyways, Shannon Emmerich has been known to voice characters, actually a mix of both male and female characters. Ones you may have heard her is she is Jenny in Bodacious Space Pirates. She is Caesar in Girls und Panzer. And from on the boy side, she is Ryu in Gachibon Crowds. And one of Lilac and Mai's favorite show, she was the spirit Orion in Amnesia.
I was about to say, you were about to bring that up, weren't you?
I have to.
You
not...
have to. You suffered the cage for that shit.
I was gonna say something about her, about the character she plays in Gachibon's Crowd, but that would go into a really weird tangent, so I won't.
Let's not go into weird tangents
right
now. You can go into a tangent later. How's that?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ryu is a bit of a contention for that part, but who's not contentious is Lucy Christian, who has done everything under the sun. Everything! She plays a very nice character in this show, so I'm gonna list characters who are not at all like Nana. She has voiced Kaname in Full Metal Panic. She has voiced Paimon in Gachibon Crowds. She voices Hestia in You Should Not Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon. And she voices one of my personal favorites. She voices Misukari in Azumanga Daioh.
Can I go first for this section because I feel like words are going to be said, and I kind of want to, be as fair as possible here. So,
I have no objections to that. Everyone good with letting Jet go first?
Okay.
All right. Go for it.
I'll start off with Shannon Emmerich. I'm fairly familiar with her work at this point, and I've generally enjoyed it. However, something that's really notable about her is that she has a very, and I apologize if this sounds insulting in any way, shape, or form. She has a very, kind of nasally, sort of high pitched voice, and it really lends itself well to to playing young boys and very androgynous characters, that sort of thing, and that's sort of.
I think the word androgynous is a good word.
And that's literally what I'm used to hearing with her work. So as far as it goes with her playing a teenage girl, in this case, it came off as a little bit, a little distracting. I feel like someone who is totally unfamiliar with her would get the impression she's, trying to intentionally make Judah sound like a overly dirty stereotype, since Judah is obviously supposed to be the very serious and straight-laced one of the girls. And, and she's not, that's just how her voice sounds, but that fear did set in, and it's a bit of a shame, because performance-wise, I thought she did a pretty solid job. She gets Judah's attitude across pretty well, and I really dug her in episode 2, where we get to see her, properly perform against Karen, and she laid out all of Judah's feelings of inferiority pretty well, and they were definitely very relatable, and I really felt that in Shannon's performance. So basically, I think it was a very fine performance. Casting-wise, I don't know if it was the best call, but that's a whole other thing. Lucy Christian is not, on the other hand, I liked a lot, and heads up, Lilac, you might want to take off your headphones now, because I probably will be doing a couple of spoilers.
You're good, go ahead.
Okay, so Lucy Christian is a fantastic actress and generally nails whatever character she's doing very quickly. And while she didn't have too much to do in the beginning, she did a great job of selling Nana as a very nice girl. And while also managing to portray the sense that, some of that kindness was maybe a little bit of a facade, and that she was trying to run away from something. And said something becomes really apparent in episode 7, where we learn what Nana's deal is, and Lucy's delivery of that monologue was really fantastic. You can really tell how much she was struggling to maintain that happy facade while also dealing with, the emptiness of having to constantly adjust to change. Well, trying to constantly resist change, and quite literally because, Groundhog Day time loop.
Yeah.
Without the sleeping with your boss subplot.
So Lucy handled that whole bit really well, and it made me fall in love with that episode all over again because, full disclosure, that is honestly my favorite episode so far. And plus, I gotta say, the way she handled the final line in that episode, where like Nana literally turns to the camera to deliver that whole bit where she says she wants to include Hikari in her repeat performance, like that gave me chills. So, well done, Lucy Christian. Yeah. So Lucy Christian was definitely one of these standouts to me, and and again, while I'm not totally sure that Shannon was the best casting choice here, I thought she did a pretty good job. So yeah, I like these two, and you can tell Alex she can put her headphones back on.
Yeah. All right, we can let Lila come back.
I heard Noah at one point say something about sleeping with bosses. What?
Oh, just. Groundhog's Day is a movie that all of you should watch, is all I'm going to say. All right. Jamal, I want you to tell me Shannon and Lucy's predictions. Go.
Predictions?
Or not predictions. Shannon, rewind. Shannon and Lucy's performances. Go.
Well, Lucy Christian, I should have seen it coming because Nana is pretty much Yuki Yoshino from Food Wars if she was played straight. Like, right down to the hair and everything.
I mean, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just thinking the fact, if you follow Lucy Christian on Twitter, half of her feed is, this is the cons I'm going to be at. The second half is just her raising her daughters. So she is literally a mom-chan in real life.
Yeah, and I know that Lucy, she's a prominent voice in anime. Just like Monica, it's just you hear her more in Sentai, but that's not the point right now. The point is, Lucy did a pretty splendid job. Even though Nana is a character, well, for what Lilac seen, she did pretty good. For what Jet's seen, it's pretty intense, but that's for later on. I did like how she handled her character very well. Lucy has a tendency to be, her voice tends to be a little flighty with these kind of characters while retaining smart. Let's put it that way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you ever heard of a lot of her characters, like, they would sound like airheads, but they're pretty much not. And Lucy manages to maintain that balance very well. Shannon Emmerich, what the fuck? Shannon Emmerich, on the other hand, I did not like that performance at all. Like, it was a Stephanie Widows kind of situation. You remember what happened last time.
Yep, we had discussions about not problems with the performance so much as problems with just the natural voice, right?
Yes, because I thought... Where did I begin with this? Well, pretty much the voice was so out there, I did not buy that this was a high school student. And I thought, well, maybe this is because it's not a name I'm familiar with, so... I went and looked up her roast. I remember she was the Kid Emperor in Kami Got Killed. I wasn't too fond of that either. I also went back to the Amnesia episode y'all did, and well, I stand corrected. And then I thought to myself, wait a minute, just flip-flop this for a second. Focus on the acting, and the voice will follow.
Okay.
The acting wasn't up to par either. Because, for one thing, when you tried to, I will give her credit, she was at least studious. That was what I was hoping the character would go for, because, you know, she's a bookworm. She pretty much keeps to herself. She enforces the rules. And then you get to a backstory is like, well, you understand why she's doing what she's doing now.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't feel any of that with Shannon. As a matter of fact, episode 2, because episode 2 was one of my favorite songs.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a review of, what was it, Passion or
Desire?
Pleasure? Desire, that's what.
Passion was the first review, I think.
You can hear a direct comparison between her voice and the Seiyu's voice. The Seiyu's voice had a lot more flow to it, whereas Shannon's, it kind of felt a little stilted to me. I couldn't buy it. I really couldn't. Okay. It kind of takes me out every time I hear her on screen. I mean, it's slowly starting to mellow out, but I don't think it's mellowing out fast enough. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry if people feel offended, but hey, you know, I mean, this is a show where you're trying to become an actor. I know I know.
Ouch.
No, that came out wrong. But you get my point at least, right?
I do, and I'm glad that you're being honest about it, because we we're not gonna kiss ass to performances if we're legitimately not
constructive
into it.
criticism, boys and girls.
Hey, I'm Caribbean. I don't sugarcoat shit.
Absolutely.
Even though you're a line cook.
There's a certain level of spice going on here, but more than anything else, I think he loves putting salt on everything.
I mean, have you had salt bread? It's pretty tasty.
Oh god.
No, I haven't actually. I'll have to come by and try. Is it salt bread? You said?
Yeah.
So it's like what? Like it's like Little Caesar's crazy bread or what?
No, I'll explain it to you one of these days.
Basically,
Okay,
we gotta take
right.
a trip down to Florida to visit Jamal, is what he's saying.
Well, if you want to, but anyway,
I want to go to Florida anyway, so.
Man,
Dub Talk Disney World 2025.
at the very least, Shannon has the studious part going for the character. It's just it's kind of taking me out a lot, and that's all you have to say. Right?
All right, Lilac. We've got two reactions to Shannon's performance on this one. What camp are you gonna fall into?
Before I talk about that camp, I want to talk about Lucy real quick.
Sure.
Because Lucy cut is basically exactly what I pictured Nana to sound like. The energy is there, the maternal instincts is there. Unfortunately, from what I've seen, Nana hasn't done enough quite yet. But with
You are one episode away.
I know, but with the side story, the side plot now of her wanting to stray away from performing, I'm gonna guess that's gonna be a big development for her. So I'm very intrigued to know how Lucy's gonna do with that. But as of right now, Nana hasn't done a ton. In terms of Shannon as Juna, because I already said this, Juna is probably the most relatable character to me, because I feel like I am Juna at times, especially when I was in high school. And my thing is, I agree that it's a little rough, a little bit, but I disagree with it being rough through majority of it. It was rough with like the first episode to me. That was really it, because I think it was more of an adjusting period, because the last time I heard Shannon Emmerich in anything was Amnesia. So my brain was like, wait, this woman was a boy last time. Wait, she's a studious person. Hold on. My brain was trying to adjust. But in my mind, I think how Shannon portrays Juna is, I wouldn't necessarily say it's an inferiority complex either. I feel like, because Juna to me is the underdog. She's the kind of girl you wouldn't expect to take on a lead role. That's the kind of character I think that I believe that Juna is, and again, that I relate to personally. So I think that Shannon Shannon actually does rather well portraying this kind of quality in Juna. Did I have anything else in here? Like, I do kind of relate to her. The first episode was a bit rough to sit through. Again, because of that adjustment period and trying to get a handle on the direction that the performance and the voice is going to go. But I think episode 2 was where I really started seeing it come into its own a bit more. So, I agree that it's rough. I disagree that I disagree that the acting is off. I think the acting is perfectly fine, especially for an underdog kind of character like Juna in this sense. And I like the fact that Juna doesn't also have the stereotypical bookish kind of girl voice that you normally associate these kinds of stereotypes with. Like, it's one of those things where similar to Futaba and maybe similar to Maya to an extent. I appreciate that there's a different dynamic in this group. I fully appreciate that, and I do see the direction that Juna is going in with Shannon's performance. Yes, it was a little rough to start, but considering, let's face it, I don't sound exactly like Shannon, but that's the same kind of register that I'm kind of fallen to, if you think about it.
You mean just on like if we have to separate the singers into pitches, you both would be at the, not soprano, but more of the alto voice?
Though I can sing soprano. It's been a few years since I can go like for soprano, but yeah, like I think Juna is the underdog, kind of like the normal girl who just wants to have her chance to shine. And I think that Shannon portrays I think Shannon portrays that actually rather well, and it's very, very, it's something that I definitely can attach myself to as Juna being a relatable character, in all honesty.
All right, and now we kind of know the split now. Am I going to join Team Jet and Jamal, or am I going to join Team Lilac? Gotta go with the theater nerd on this one. I gotta go with Lilac in terms of reactions to Shannon. Now, I did write after the first episode, not sure I dig the stilted acting on Shannon's performance on this, because she does sound like her boy voices. I'm much more familiar with her in roles that she's done where she was playing young boys, and that's just what her natural voice sounds closer to. However, in getting through the second episode, I came to appreciate having a different female voice than all the other actors, which I really appreciate in an ensemble cast like this. If all of the actresses sounded not just similar, but also were directed to speak in a similar way, they would not stand out as much. And this difference makes Juna stand out a lot more. And as for the actual acting portion of it, I did like it. I like that. I don't want to say underdog, because Lilac already used that word, but it is an underdog voice to it. It's something that she sounds like a theater person, and I don't just mean that this is a show that's in theater. Like, of all the actresses that we're going to hear and we're going to talk about, Shannon to me sounds like the kind of voice that if I close my eyes I would see on a stage performance, like a local Houston theater production.
Absolutely.
Which has has some different picadillos than what we consider normal anime voice acting, but that's not a bad thing. I think I said something similar about Maureen Miller, actually, and when we've talked about her and stuff like Little Witch Academia or Anohana, where it's just a kind of a different style of acting, but that doesn't make it a bad thing. And in this sense here, I'm glad that they wrote her in like this, and I'm glad that they cast Shannon for this particular part here. It's not for everyone. It's a gruffer sounding voice, and it takes the longest to get used to. Unlike some of the other roles that we talked about where they're just kind of average, you will instantly recognize Shannon's voice in anything you hear her in. And you're either going to be on board with that, or it's just not going to do it for you.
I think out of anyone in the cast, I think Juna is the most decisive, considering how distinct Shannon's voice actually is. So people are either going to be in the camp where they absolutely love it, or they absolutely hate it.
And it probably helps that, like you said, Lilac, it's a character that you already were relating to, so the voice itself just reminded you, oh yeah, I remember being like that in high school. I remember being the anime class president who had to prove myself against the prima donna stereotypical theater people.
See, in high school we didn't have an anime club, which was a shame.
You know what, I didn't either. I'm probably a good thing, because I've heard bad stories from everyone who had a high school anime club. I've heard no good stories.
Probably for the best.
But that's a topic for another day. I should talk about Lucy Christian, though. But I'll keep this short and concise, because if you don't know and love Lucy Christian at this point, I don't know what to tell you. I'm just going to link you that gif of Ochaku slapping Deku as he's falling out of the sky, and just imagine that's my reaction to you. Because Lucy is amazing, and she is very banana-nice in this role.
God damn it, someone had to use that pun.
God damn.
Someone had to.
One pun in there. She's got, Lucy's got 2 different modes. Well, she's got a ton of modes, but the ones I notice her for the most are her moe voices, like your Ochaku or your, what's her name from Clanad? Nagisa from Clanad. or she's got her what I'll call her big girl voice. She's done in stuff like Blood Blockade Battlefront. Black Blood Brothers. That's a different show entirely. So this sounded like a voice that was right in between the two. It's halfway between her moe voice and halfway between her big girl voice, which is interesting to hear. I can hear bits of both of those kind of voices in here. So the more that Lucy's in, the world soars. I got nothing but good things to say about that. Let us move on. Sparkle.
We're in the home stretch.
And we are in the home stretch. And speaking of home stretches, we have brought a transfer student in. That was a weaker transition, I'm sorry. But we were talking about the two characters who are... They're technically roommates, but I'm going to refer to them more as Karen's posse. We'll talk about Karen later, but these two are like the two girls who are vying for Karen's attention, kind of. The first one is the one who is kind of her mom at the beginning of the show, and that is Maharu, who is the her roommate in the show, and is the one who has to try to get her up, and is also kind of the silliest one of the entire group. Like, she's always doing silly accents and is always like the most clownish of the entire group. Contrasted heavily with the mysterious transfer student. We're also going to talk about Hikari Kagura, who is the one who Karen knew when they were very young, went away to Europe because all the best performers come from Europe, and came back to Japan to throw a monkey wrench into the show. And these are the two who we're going to talk about together because they're tied in terms of being Karen's best friends, in a sense, that get the plot going. And that, Jamal, do you have predictions for Maharu and Hikari?
Yeah, for Mahu, I had Patricia Duran because Maharu a little bit kind of reminds me of a character from Flip Flappers. I had Emily Neves, I guess because of Umaru-chan, if I think about it. But I also had Christina Kelly because I figured for something different. A lot of these predictions I don't remember too much why, but I think it might have been of a similar attitude in Food Wars at certain points. For Hikari, I had Jade Saxton. I had Rachel Landon. But here's the kicker. I had Jeannie Torrado.
Really?
Huh.
Because early on when I started watching the sub and making predictions, I kept making comparisons to Love Lives. And in particular Sunshine, which I know Jet has seen.
Yeah.
I mean, we were going to talk about that show eventually, so I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah, Hikari in a certain way kind of reminds me of Rico, who was also a transfer student and kind of gifted in the arts as well. So I figured, and plus with the way things have been going in Sentai lately, that whole dynamic just shifts everywhere. So I figured, hey, why not? It's only a matter of time.
You mean the dynamic of which actors stay in Dallas and who goes to Houston?
Yeah, pretty much. Like,
oh, okay. Because yeah, there have been surprises, I'll agree, where actors who I thought were strictly Dallas have shown up in Houston dubs, and I've seen Houston people show up in Dallas dubs. So yeah, it's not. I mean, the cities are practically right next to each other, so I guess it wasn't too surprising.
Yeah, I mean they're only 4 hours apart.
Only 4 hours. You know, that's like what, a marathon of a show,
or a trip from Miami to Orlando. But
yeah. So not that big a deal. Jet, predictions for Maharu and Hikari.
Okay, so for Maharu, this is actually where I put Lucy Kirchen. Mostly because, well, I mean, I figured Lucy Kirchen was going to be in here somewhere, and, and I know Lucy Kirchen can do kind of goofy, so I figured, why not?
Mm-hmm.
As for Hikari, I said Alison Summerall, mostly because, she played a tsundere character in Ucho and Tor, and I really enjoyed her in that show. Well, Hikari isn't, quite a, tsundere. She sort of fits that archetype a little bit. And Alison Summerall is generally been pretty reliable for me, so I figured she'd do a good job.
Alright. Guess Lilac, have you got the winning predictions?
For Maharu, I actually had Juliet Simmons.
Huh.
considering some of the, because Mahiro can be a little bit more soft-spoken and more quiet and shy among the group. However, she does have her moments.
She does.
For example, blocking Karuko from going to tell the teachers that Karen and Hikari kind of up and disappeared. And it kind of reminded me of Nozaki-kun a little bit. Her role as Chio there. As for Hikari, this is actually the one role I didn't have a prediction for. Because in my head, I couldn't figure out for the life of me who would fit in this role.
Wow.
Among the Houston pool.
Yeah.
So Hikari was the hardest one, so I kind of just gave up, actually.
That's fair. I mean, we're not going to hold your feet to the fire on that one. We will, however, be lowering the amount of ice cream scoops you get at the end of the night, though.
As long as you still give me those double peanut butter cookies, I don't give a shit.
But I won't put them. I won't give them to you fresh from the oven.
They're still good. I don't care.
They're still good. They're still good.
I don't care. They are double peanut butter cookies. I don't give a shit.
Speaking of being very good, my predictions for these characters were two seasoned veterans of the Houston dubbing community. For Hikari, who I wrote on my paper to remember by the little star clips that she has in her hair, I went against traditional typecast, and this is where I put Lucy Christian, because even though she's probably best known for her crazy voices, not crazy, but moe voices, she also has a panache for doing stoic very well. And especially in one show that it's called Flip Flappers, she also did a bit of a stoic character in that show too. So I thought, let's keep that role going and put her as Hikari. And as for Mahiru, this is where I put Stephanie Whittles, who was Erica in Food Wars. But I probably put her here more because I liked her role as... God, I'm sorry, I didn't write it down. But the teacher in School Live. That Lilac was alluding to. Megune. Thank you. I thought that her performance in that one kind of matched with the slightly nervous, neurotic teacher who can also be a bit goofy, like her students, that Mahiru portrays throughout the show, and that's where I thought Stephanie Wills would shine best in this particular production. And that being said, though, I am afraid that I am going to have to revoke every single one of your cookies for this one, because everyone got it wrong! Yay!
Don't you dare take my cookies away, you son of a bitch.
You got it, man. If you think about it, I was pretty close, though.
I'll let you have the crumbs, Jamal.
Fuck you.
But what is not the crumbs are these prime actors. So, for Mahiru, we have Miss Maggie Flecknoe. And for Hikari, we have Patricia Duran. So, Jamal, you were right. You had one of the characters right. You just had it in the wrong role.
Like I said, man.
Yes, that's okay. This is why I'm going to give you back your cookies. Here you go. There's all the cookies. Have them all back. No. Actually, no, forget that. Here are the banana muffins. You all get banana muffins.
Fuck you. I want my peanut butter cookies.
Do you have banana bread, though?
I've got banana pudding.
Alright, then. I'll take it.
I don't like it. I don't like food that jiggles.
Anyway.
So said Hikari, who is... Okay, so Patricia Duran is a voice of a couple of different things from all over the history that I looked up. She is Aiko in Trinity Blood. She was Freya in You Definitely Absolutely Should Not Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon. She is Bose in Gate. And she is Julia in Dureku. Dureku. I'm sorry.
Doreku.
Yeah.
I love how the Danmachi title is just slowly evolving into just don't do it, guys. Just don't pick up girls in a dungeon.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
It's slowly evolving.
Yeah, it's going to be a much longer light novel title by the end of this, trust me. And as for Maggie Flecknoe, I think a couple of you have maybe seen a couple things she's been in. She's been in Belinda in Bodacious Space Pirates. She is... Oh boy, okay. Iris Vale von Eisburn in Fate Kaleid Linear Prismal... That one Fate Magical Girls show that no one can pronounce. but probably best known as Rika in Love, Chinobio, and Other Delusions.
Or if you are shoujo trash like me, you know her as the heroine from Amnesia and Yui from Diabolic Lovers. Because fuck you, it has to come up.
I thought mentioning Amnesia once in this episode was enough, but no, you gotta go for 2. Fine. If you want to talk about it, go, Lilac. Talk about Maggie and Patricia's performance.
Oh boy. So where am I gonna start? Who do I want to start with? Where do I have my notes? I'm actually gonna start with Maggie, cause see, here's the problem when it comes to me and Maggie Flecknoe's roles. I only know her as the deadpan, stupid Otome game protagonist heroines. that is stiff as a fucking board.
That is not a good place to go.
No, it's not. So, obviously, you can tell my surprise and my happiness when I say the words, I like Maggie as Mahiru.
Ah, thank goodness.
Thank God. Because Maggie has such a fun charm and an endearing personality to Mahiru. And it's definitely one of the better performances I've ever seen from her. Again, going from stiff as a board Otome heroine junk, though. So, unfortunately, not the bit of the lowest bar, unfortunately. So, obviously, by default, anything that's not Otome game trash is infinitely better.
What about this show?
Again, I love it.
Cool.
Again, such a fun charm and endearing personality. She has the kind of shy, quiet personality Mahiru has, but she does. Again, she has those moments where she's very, very protective. Again, that scene where she's squaring off against Karuko in the hallway with a broom, just like, I am the guard of this hallway. You are not gonna go to the teacher and tell them that Karen and Hikari are not here. You are going to leave now, and then just chase them down. I like it. I do enjoy that a lot. As for Patricia, because this is actually only the second time I've heard Patricia before. The first being Doreiku from last season as Julia. And, it's a very interesting contrast, because if you're one of the very few people who have watched Doreiku, Julia is a woman and a full-fledged adult. And personally, I think Patricia's performance as Julia was one of my favorite standout performances in there. Alongside probably Dave Matranga, because David Matranga is a fucking dumbass in that show. His character's not very bright. Not saying Dave Matranga is an idiot. His character is very stupid.
We got
his character
gloves
is
and
a
brass
dumbass.
knuckles here ready for you.
No, his character in Doreiku is a fucking moron. Just throwing it out there. In terms of Hikari, it's definitely very different. Because I'm going from hearing an adult woman to a teenager. So very, very stark contrast, obviously, right off the bat. But Patricia seems to have this kind of almost somber tone to Hikari.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. But you can tell that she has concern to her. It's not somber to the point where it's like full-on melancholy, depression, that kind of thing.
No.
It's more because I'm guessing and I have a feeling that there's obviously more to Hikari's story that kind of comes in a bit more than 4 episodes allow me to have.
She's secretly the Rose Bride.
God damn it. But all things considered, I like how Patricia portrays that slight somber tone and some of those tsundere qualities that were being described, because she can have those tsundere qualities. Very much so. Episode 4 is very, very much evident of that, where she's running away and trying to see all the jellyfish at every single aquarium in a single day. But... Sorry. But I really do enjoy Patricia's performance of Hikari so far. I'm just curious to know more about Hikari as a character at this stage, but...
That is always the appeal of the foreign exchange student, isn't it? It's like the mysterious student I want to know more about.
Yeah, it really is. And I think Patricia plays the silent, quiet, she is professional character rather well, and I just really am excited to see a different kind of role for Patricia, at least that I've seen. So
yeah, absolutely. All right, I guess Jamal, I want to know what your thoughts were.
Steph, you may need to take off your headphones for this section.
Again? Alright, just let me know when I'm good.
Alright, let me know when you got your headphones off.
Well, she can't hear you, so I'm assuming that was good.
Okay. Okay, so pretty much... Sorry. Yeah, so pretty much Mahiru, Maggie Flecknoe, I thought her acting was pretty much on point, especially when she starts being flustered and being spastic with her character. The tone felt a little off in the earlier episodes, but which is surprising considering the only roles I've known her for Shinka from Love, Trinibio and Other Delusions, and that one, she was kind of soft-spoken to the point you couldn't even tell it was her at first. And Mera, which sadly I did not finish, Monster Musume, thank you High-Dive Video Players for crashing. But when you get into her backstory, you understand Mahiru as a character. Maggie's performance really opens up a whole new perspective for me. Especially when you find out why she's doing these auditions. You know, and when it leads off into the character song, like the flow naturally smooth out, to which it was also the same way with Hikari, because Hikari comes off a bit stern and also a bit of a tsundere at times too. And then, well, I'm not gonna say it, but in the latest episode, you find out more about her relationship with Karen. But other than that, I thought Patricia played off the character very well, even if I haven't always heard her in many roles. Like I said, the last thing I heard her in was Flip Flappers, and I thought she did pretty well at that too. But that's for another time. As it stands right now, I'm gonna go above some more. These are very good performances. They're not too much my standouts until later on in the show.
Oh, okay.
Okay, then.
That's interesting. I guess Jet. What do you got?
I'm gonna go to like mild spoilers from my YouTube, so Steph should probably keep her headphones off. Oh man, I feel so bad.
I mean, we could say anything we want about Lilac right now, and she wouldn't be able to respond.
I can slightly still hear you even through my headphones, right?
I was saying how Lilac is amazing and wonderful, and we should adopt her as our president.
That is a lie.
Adopt, not elect. Why did I say adopt and not elect as president? I don't know. Hey, wait, Jet, go for it. While I go take a poll.
Okay, so it's like with Patricia, in case you can't sense a pattern here, I am mostly familiar with her for a couple of her roles in Ucho and Tora, and while she wasn't among my favorites in that dub, I was definitely very interested to hear her and other stuff. I did kind of think her voice is like maybe a little bit deep for a teenager, but so far her performance has been pretty on point. Hikari is obviously meant to be a very reserved and mysterious kind of figure, and Patricia manages to play up that sense of intrigue very well, and makes you want to, kind of naturally learn more about Hikari, so that's great. And she's also handled Hikari in performance mode very well, and while it's not my standout performance here, I definitely don't have any real problems with it. So as far as Mahiru goes, well, it wouldn't be an Ikuhara-esque thing without, some Yuri Thirst in there somewhere, and this... And,
he wasn't even part of the show.
And this girl definitely has a corn set needs filling.
Yes.
So it's made apparent right away that he is very into Karin and not so much into the idea of Hikari stealing her away. And as for how that pertained to Maggie Fluckoy's performance, I liked it quite a bit. I haven't heard Maggie fluctuate a ton of stuff. My first impression of her was in Penguin Drum, and that was a very mixed reaction.
As we've discussed, that wasn't a great dub for anybody.
Yeah, I mean, she was one of the few I wouldn't say I liked, but I thought, like, okay, this has potential if it was, like, directed better.
It's all... Rule of thumb, Jet. If one actor is bad, the actor is probably bad. If every actor is bad, the director is the problem.
Yeah. Okay, so I thought they got off Mahiru's soft-spoken nature pretty well, and I could definitely feel the, like all the hidden desire underneath the surface to have Karen all to herself. And unsurprisingly, it was Mahiru's episode that really sold me on the character herself, as Oliver's jealousy is really laid bare in her performance, granted in a pretty silly fashion, like the silliest in the entire show. And I definitely appreciate how well she handled her transition from being very thirsty for Karin to eventually recognizing in actuality it's something of a crutch to kind of hide from her own insecurities as an actor, because she doesn't really have a lot of confidence in herself, so she kind of clings to Karen, and I thought that was very interesting. And if I had to say any negatives, I thought like maybe her line reads were like a little bit shaky in the beginning, but all in all, I thought this was pretty solid, and I like both of these. Okay, you can let Lana kind of deal now.
I was gonna say, yeah, let's let her back in.
I'm safe.
Yeah, you're good.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Sorry.
Yeah, this is interesting because even though we put a disclaimer at the top of this episode, we're trying not to spoil it for one of our own members because we really want that reaction to be authentic when you see it for the first time.
Yay! Even though I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Oh,
You will soon.
Yes,
Yay.
you will. You will go and you will finish the show and you will thank us for not spoiling you.
My future self thanks you.
Excellent. So, it's funny you mentioned future self because both these characters of Hikari and Mahiru kind of reminded me of a different time-traveling show. They reminded me a lot of the characters of Hamaru and Sayaka from Madoka Magica, in that they're both thirsty for the main character and that they've got completely opposite personalities to one another.
I thought you were about to go with Steins Gate only because I've been catching up on it today.
I haven't seen it yet.
Whoops.
But let's focus on this show, because Mahiru is the one that I was probably the most surprised by, because Maggie's got the more straight-nosed role to begin with, and you kind of peg that she's going to be the more flustered, straight-laced student, but then she breaks out of that and gets a chance to flutter between seriousness and girlish throughout the show. That makes her voice just a lot more fun to listen to. Like, I like roles where the character gets a chance to kind of like go through the spectrum while still maintaining the same personality, and Maggie definitely got to do that throughout all of this. And what's great about it is that it's all over the place, but it's never not genuine. It's kind of like the genie from Aladdin, where it's the same character, but it's just having fun all over the place. I wouldn't be surprised if some of her lines were ad-libbed, although with the schedule, I'm assuming that probably wasn't the case. Now, on the case of Patricia, we actually get to hear her, she has, like, the second line of the whole show right after Karen, and they're, like, having this brief monologue about their ambitions as theater performers, and she's got this very silkier, richer, soft-spoken voice that kind of enhances the mysterious element to her. Like, we're not sure, like, oh, is she like a bad girl, or what's her deal? I gotta know more about her. And she really sells the drawing you in portion of it. And when we finally do get to episode 1's first auditions, and there's like a secret elevator that goes down into this mysterious audition chamber with a talking giraffe, then, like, at that point, Patricia has accurately built up the intrigue about her character, And so when you finally see her sword fighting on the stage there, it was well rewarding. It was very rewarding to finally get an idea about, like, okay, she's here to audition. Why are they sword fighting? I don't know. So I got nothing but good things to say about Patricia on this one. Also, I like the fact that, and this might just be me trying to find dialects where they don't exist, but it sounded like she had an East Coast dialect, whereas more of the other characters sounded like they were actually from the Midwest area, fitting with the Texas casting. Patricia sounds like she came like from more of almost a New York or almost a Pennsylvania portion of the country. Again, I like dynamic casts ensemble casts where all the characters have distinct voices that you can understand, you know who they are without having to look at the screen and realize who it is who is speaking. And that happens quite a bit. Like in the first episode, there's a dorm scene where all the characters are talking and the camera isn't always focused on all of them. So good on casting and good on Patricia and Maggie for their performances. And that brings us to the final circle of this review. We have finally gotten to the grand finale. Not quite the curtain call yet. This is the final scene where we get to talk about who is arguably the lead character of the show, and that is one and only Karen Ijo. Yes, because every show about an idol group or theater group or anything like this needs a peppy, underdog, I can do it personality character, and in that, we got us one Karen. And she also has a crown clip in her hair, which means that she is, of course, the queen of the group. No, she's not the queen.
No, well, she is the only one to get a transformation sequence, which is like the most Ikuhara thing of this entire show.
It's a weird transformation
you
too.
Wrong.
It kind of reminded me of Kill la Kill in the transformation sequence. You know, it's the
I mean, you would need to very specifically see that show. But if you've seen like Season 3 of Sailor Moon, there's this very specific thing that happens in every episode that involves like a transformation sequence in a microwave with monsters. And it reminded me a lot of that. The transformation scene reminded me a lot of that.
Okay, let me write that down. I'm making a note for later tonight for stuff to watch. Okay.
Hooray!
So I guess Jet, since you got me thinking about microwaves now, who did you think was gonna play Karen?
So I knew right away who I wanted because I was thinking, okay, bright, bubbly personality that's also a bit of a dork, and sometimes actors. And there was only one person for me who I thought would really work here, and that would be one Brittney Karbowski.
Ah. Yep. She's kind of got that under lock and key. All right, Jamal, what are you thinking?
Kind of ironic you said idols and underdogs. I had Margaret McDonald, but I also had Jade Saxton because again I was making Love Life comparisons, and Karen kind of reminds me of Chica a bit.
Now, I'm sorry. Who does Jade play in Love Life Sunshine?
She plays the lead.
Orange. Yeah, she's the orange-haired girl.
Okay, because I'm just going to throw out that I also had Jade as my prediction.
Yeah, I also had Christina Kelly for some difference, I guess because of Umaru-chan, her bubbly personality. But I'm kind of kicking myself because I don't want to call her a low-hanging fruit, but let's just say it should have been obvious to me, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, hold on to that fruit. Hold on to it for now. And speaking of low-hanging fruit, Lilac, you are the last to give us your predictions.
I don't see how I'm the low-hanging fruit, but okay.
I was trying to make a stretch where it's like, okay, the lilac plant is a ground plant, but it can also go up really high too. So I guess that's not technically low-hanging, but the metaphor
lilacs
died.
Lilacs also aren't fruit.
No, but they smell like they're sweet. Just talk. Just give your prediction, woman.
Your logic has been broken.
It's like, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm sorry.
It is not 3 o'clock in the morning.
I know. I'm going for dramatic flair here.
God damn it. Anyway, so Karen is bubbly and peppy and has so much personality and energy to her. There is only one correct answer to this prediction, and her name is Brittney Karbowski. Because she can encapsulate so much personality in Karen's character that I would not accept anything else.
Jamal, was that the low-hanging fruit you were talking about?
Yes, and now I'm just kicking myself in the low-hanging fruits for not guessing.
Alright, gotta keep kicking away because it was indeed Brittney Karbowski. Jet is right. Lilac is right. Me and Jamal are in our pity party kicking ourselves, but that's okay because it means we get to listen to an awesome voice actress to voice Karen. And
Jet, high five, we got it, man.
Yeah, that's high five.
Yay!
It took you to
There
the
we
end
go.
of the
I
episode.
just I clapped my hands to make the high five work. There we go. Yay!
So Brittney Karbowski
Got this.
is one of the actresses who has been jumping between Sentai, ADV, Funimation, all over the state of Texas. So I'm going to list roles that she's been in that are all over the place. She is Ai in Beyond the Boundary. She is Black Star in Soul Eater. She is Hisoka in Food Wars. And she is another Karen, Karen Tendo in Gamers. It's a wide variety of...
First off, second of all, it's Hisako.
You're right. I'm sorry. My handwriting was off.
Good job.
He's so sad.
I realized the mistake that just happened.
God damn it.
Bravo, Noah. Bravo.
I take my bow. I take my bow. And I run away with all the money.
I just kind of imagine Karen going, swing.
God damn it.
Oh, God.
Oh no.
We do this for you, people. We make mistakes for your enjoyment. Speaking of your enjoyment, Jamal, did you enjoy Brittney as Karen in this show?
Yeah. Yes. Because
That was a dramatic
here's
pause.
the thing. No, because here's the thing. If you're listening to this recording right now, if you go to my Twitter right now, I have a banner. It's just a picture of me and her at Florida Supercon.
Yes.
Like, I had been waiting so long to be here. Like, you have no idea. You just, like, before a lot of the other voice actors, Brittney was the one actress I identified with the most. Like, she has one tone of voice, but she manages to spin that into a variety of performances. Like, it's like her acting is pretty much on point to, like, she even has, like, a little signature squeal you hear every now and then. Especially, like, if you're watching Karen cry in this show, or if you watch, like, School Lift, which I thought that was way over the top until you realize why.
Yeah, the last minute of that show sucker punches you pretty hard.
Oh, you have no idea.
No, I do, because I don't know if you saw the episode that we did, but we can.
Oh, I did.
Okay, so you know my own reaction to the show.
Yeah, so pretty much I have no faults with Brittney. She's a good sport, and I know she's a good sport with Dub Talk. Like, I told her about this, and I think she says she retweets a lot of our stuff at times.
She does.
She's gonna be very excited to hear this episode, and I know I was very excited to hear her performance because this had to have been a passion project for her. Like every bit of acting, because she even said that this like took her back to like her old theater days. Like, so when you can play a character that relates to you very easily, the actor will do its job, and the voice will follow. And for Brittney, it works 150%.
Wow, that's like not even mathematically possible.
It is in this world.
I mean,
In a world.
I know.
In a world with talking.
I know some. Yes, I know some people at times would have an issue with her performance in other shows, but I think she manages to hit the nail on the head pretty well here.
I mean, that's one of the things that I have on the negative side. I've heard people say about Brittney is just that her pep and energy could be misplaced in some shows, but I think we're gonna agree that it wasn't misplaced in the show. It was just enough what we needed for a show like this.
If you meet her in person, Karen is pretty much Brittney.
Yeah.
Minus the lesbian undertones, but
I'm not gonna say anything.
I'm not either. I'm done. So that's all.
Don't dig.
Good.
Don't dig your hole further.
No, I'm taking your shovel away from you, and I'm passing that shovel over to Lilac because I want to know what you thought about Brittney's performance.
I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. because there is no other answer than Brittney Karbowski as Karen. Like, if this was on the Funimation side, then maybe there would be. But in terms of here, like, maybe even then on the Funimation side, there is no correct answer. Brittney Karbowski is the only answer. Because Brittney has such a passion and sincerity to Karen, and this daydreamer kind of quality, too, in the performance. Because Karen is a bit of a daydreamer as well, wanting to achieve her dreams and star in a show with Hikari. But, yeah, Brittney has amazing energy, amazing sincerity, and a lot of heart given into this role. So I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorites of the show. So again, lesson of the day, the correct answer is always, in this case, Brittney Karbowski. That's it.
Now my question then to you is, we understand that she's got the fun, peppy, loves the theater portion of her. What about the more dramatic portions of it? Do you think that is conveyed well enough by her natural voice?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I guess
again, the only correct answer is Brittney Karbowski.
Down. Yes, we get it. You were wearing the Brittney Karbowski fangirl shirt as we speak and waving the banner over your head saying Brittney for president. In the meantime,
I don't know about that far, but
I don't know either. Anyways, Jet.
Okay.
Take it away, Jet. Bring us back to Earth.
Okay, so since she was my pick for Karen, I was obviously pretty happy to see her cast here, and I was definitely very pleased at how her performance turned out. She gives Karen a very bubbly and hyperactive sense of energy without, pouring too much sugar into it, and manages to make Karen sound so enthusiastic about everything that it's hard not to be enthusiastic about her performance. And that also really manages to carry into how she plays Karen on the stage side of things. Because I've actually felt like out of the entire cast, she actually gave the more theater-esque performance to me of the whole when it comes to, like, the performance stuff. And I really appreciated that she managed to make Karen sound like she would be a very good actor while somehow managing to keep her in character. And I knew it could be a really bit of a challenge to, you're acting and you need to make a character sound like an actor. So I'm very impressed that Brittney manages to pull that off. You can definitely tell she was having a lot of fun with this role and that there was a lot of passion going into it, and I felt very passionate about it too. So, yeah, nothing to say, but good job, Brittney. This was great.
Yay! Well, I'll see. If we've got 3 people who are absolutely on board with it, I guess I'm gonna have to be the grumpy, realistic, harsh reality person.
You better
not. Let's face it, you're not.
Going to honestly say that Brittney absolutely soared in this role, and I'm so glad that she's here to stay, because this is it's a kind of it's an archetypal anime role to have the larger than life personality who kind of injects love and passion into everybody else. Like we've seen it in Little Witch Academia, we saw it in School Live, we saw it in a ton of other shows. So, and if you're someone who is like maybe a grouchier person, like maybe it doesn't work for you, but in a show like this that is all about the theater, it's all about aspiring to your dreams, because let's be honest, people, theater is a job. It is a cruel, grinding job that can take a lot out of you, but at its best, the best qualities of it to a performer is that it like elevates you beyond the real world and brings you into Nirvana or Shangri-La when you're really connected with the performance. And that's something that Karen absolutely portrays with the way that Brittney acts. And what I like about this is that she gets really passionate to a point that she's like almost lecturing some people at times, but she never sounds angrier about it. Like she doesn't get upset and huffy. She's just very super passionate about it. Like the best kind of super fans you can find. And that's honestly why I'm really glad that Brittney got to play this part. And I'm also glad, from what you say, Jamal, that she is enjoying it a whole lot too. Like I love hearing when voice actors and directors and writers really enjoy what they're doing, because again, anime dubbing can be a job sometimes, and sometimes it can be a chore. But when you really enjoy it, like when you really find something that makes you remember why you love anime in the first place, that is felt by the listeners as well. Trust us, we can feel that. So wonderful. On
yeah, that's up.
No, go on.
Are we going to the final thoughts yet?
Yeah, I'm going to. So I guess I'm gonna take the sword here. I'm going to slash through into our final thoughts, and I'm pointing my sword at Jamal because I think you've got some things on your chest you want to say.
Yeah, because a lot of times people forget that voice actors are actors too. I mean, you get the acting down first before you get the voice. That way it follows. So when I hear like dubs like this, like pretty much the deciding factor for me was how an actor manages to maintain their flow. Because sometimes the voice may not always be right. It may always be how they handle their acting. And there were some hits, obviously there were some misses, but I felt it was a pretty decent balance to this. I'm gonna keep with the show to the end, pretty much, because I want to know how this is gonna go down plot wise, but B, I want to hear more of the songs too. Starlight Revue. It's funny. I'm not a theater person, but I would gladly love to learn if given the chance, you know, because I feel like this is something that could interest me. You never know. And acting brings a lot of joy to other people, so Starlight Revue for the win. I mean, it's not going to be one of my best dubs of the year, but it's pretty decent from where it's standing right now.
Wow. I mean, I'm glad to hear of anything that makes people interested in the world of theater. Absolutely. Come to the theater world. We have cookies, as I've clearly shown throughout this entire episode.
Trust me, if work wasn't a pain in the ass, I would.
I feel you. Like, I'd love to do, like, community theater as well, but I just don't have the time. Like, I'm assuming that you'd want to do the same thing if you had the time, Jamal.
I want to get back into theater so bad, but work just eats up everything.
All right. In that case, tell us a little bit, Lilac, about how much you love the show and how you wish that you were a I'm just going to call it a Zuka Club performer. The show I think is a lot of fun. It has me like again really wanting to get back into theater because I mean I went to school for this, and it's a shame that unfortunately all my time is eaten up by work. But in terms of the dub, I'm not gonna say it's the most ambitious one I've seen this year, but it comes pretty close. And in terms of the casting and performances anyway. And I'm enjoying it a lot. Like, despite some of, obviously, the more, I don't want to call it controversial, but the more debated, there it is, more debated casting and performance choices here. Mm-hmm. I like the diversity, I like the dynamics in the cast here, and the performances I'm enjoying quite a bit. There are characters that at least for me at this stage, after only seeing 4 episodes, I need to see more of. Which is a fair assessment, because there are some characters that are kind of just in the background right now. Mm-hmm. Not doing a whole lot, at least from what I've seen, aka Karuko and probably Futaba.
Nana.
Oh, no, okay. Yeah.
Nana. Probably more Nana rather than Futaba. Because at least Futaba has had that little match with Claudine. But there are some characters that need a bit more time. And despite some performances like starting out rough, they're really developing, and I can see the vision here and where everything is going, and I am enjoying it a lot. So yeah, this one's probably not one of my favorite dubs of the year so far, but it is very well done, and I'm enjoying it.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Now, Jet, we need to hear some harsh, bitter criticism for the whole show. What you got for us?
Okay, so in terms of the show, I'm enjoying it a lot. Well, I did it more for like the Ikuhara Shojo stuff than like the theater elements. I find both aspects to be pretty interesting, and it definitely is like, making me a little bit more interested in theater, and in particular learning more about the Takazura Revue. So like, I'd be like, so hey, the show has achieved its main purpose in that respect, so that's great. Yep. Okay, and as far as the dub itself goes, I mean, there's like some of the casting choices I like a lot. Some I think are pretty good. Some I'm like not so okay on. But they'll be like, I think it's a pretty like serviceable dub. It's definitely not one of my favorites of the year, if only because this has been like a really good year for me dub wise. But it's definitely good. But it's definitely good enough that, like, if you wanted to watch it to an English channel, do you fine? And yeah, this is definitely a show I would recommend. So by all means, please watch it.
I'm glad you brought that up because this is a show so heavily seeped in the world of Japan, or at least their entertainment world, that it's interesting that you say that this is okay to watch in English. Like, you didn't think that there was anything on the cultural level that was lost by watching it in English versus Japanese?
Not particularly, no.
Okay. I mean, that's good. That's the goal of an adaptive script, or an adaptive dub, is to make it so that you can understand it just fine without losing anything. And to finalize this out, I'm also the kind of person who is interested in, or getting more interested in theater through this. Not that I wasn't already, but just reminds me what it was I loved about theater to begin with. It's that sense of exuding a portion of yourself that you don't get an opportunity to anywhere else in the world. You don't have that kind of outlet anywhere else. And it really does fill your entire personality when you really feel it within you. It's not a switch that you turn on and off when your call is up on stage. It is something that really resonates within you all times. So as far as this show itself, yes, I agree. The dub is one that I can recommend on par with the sub. It is just as good as if you were to watch it in Japanese, because all of the actors have the dramatic chops to portray the range of thoughts that all the characters are having. All of them portray a different element of what someone who goes into theater could be like. And this doesn't have to just be the Takarazuka review. It could be for if you're in a musical theater, if you're in Broadway, if you're in small indie productions, or if you're just local high school productions. There is something about this that can resonate with you, which is why I'm a little critical about the show's writing itself. I don't mean the dub, I just mean the show itself, because for the good standalone episodes that this has, because there's a lot of really good standalone episodes, I don't really quite feel the overall arcing plot. It differentiates this from an Ikuhara show, which, yes, we've been making unfair comparisons to, but it's a little apt, because Ikuhara had an overarching plot to all of his shows. Even though there were strong individual episodes, they stacked up and created an overall plot that you could follow along with. This one, I'm not quite so sure. It feels a little meandering for that. That might be what they're going for, but it's...
there definitely is, like, a very clear direction it's going for as of, like, the last few episodes. I'm not sure how it's going to end, but it definitely is very clearly going somewhere.
I'm not quite sure I feel a strong plot exactly, but that shouldn't take away from the...
I feel like if you see the, like, most recent episode that the dub got to, you'll kind of get a feel for, like, where the show is probably might be heading for.
Perhaps. You're right. I'm only 7/12 of the way through the show, but that's... I want to just focus on the good portions of the individual episodes, because every actor who has gotten standout moments of this got the dramatic portions of it along well. John's direction made sure that they stayed believably dramatic without being overly campy, and Joel's script did not allow anything to be lost in the translation, so every dramatic portion of this was easily conveyed over. Even if you're not a theater person, I think there's a lot here that you can take away from this. So with that, I give this my coveted It's Pretty Good award. I'm sure they're so happy about that. And with that, everyone, I want you to come on out for curtain call. Everyone out. We got Jamal, Jet, Lilac, and Noah. Grab hands, bow.
1, 2, 3, bow.
Oh. And then indicate to the lighting crew, indicate to the wings, and then take one more bow.
We have a lighting crew? How does this fucking work?
You're ruining the illusion.
That's what I'm here for, Noah.
Well, I thought you were here to tell us about where people can watch this amazing show.
That's your job.
Damn it, you're right. Okay. So, Revue Starlight is currently airing in both sub and dub over on High Dive, which is Sentai Filmworks' premier streaming service that has not only the latest shows that they are simulcasting, airing new episodes every week, but they also have their entire backlog of everything from the Sentai and the ADV library. It is only $4.99 a month. Yes, only $4.99 a month if you sign up, which is a real steal. You can also get it for $3.99 if you already signed up and were locked into their promotional amount. Highly recommend that. It's a good use of $5 or $4. But however, if you want to follow us, we are absolutely free. Yes, we cost you $0 for your enjoyment. You're very welcome. And you can follow us on all of the social media feeds. We have our YouTube channel here, which if you're listening to, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. We really appreciate it. As of recording, we are close to 2,000 subscribers. We really appreciate getting to pass that landmark amount. We also have a Twitter account, which is dubtalkpodcast, which is the most convenient way to get in touch with us or to find out what it is that we are doing. We also have a couple other social media feeds, like we have Instagram, which is dubtalkpodcast, a Tumblr, dubtalkpodcast, and if you really want to see Lilac go at games during her free time, you can follow us on Twitch, which is also dubtalkpodcast.
Trying to do more with the Twitch channel, at least.
What game were you playing, like, last week? I forget.
Doki Doki Literature Club. That was a fucking experience and a half.
Yeah. I'm not touching that thing with a 39.
Oh no, you should. It is.
I have somehow managed to avoid getting spoiled on that. I know literally nothing about it.
It is so much fun.
I feel like Jet, I feel like not knowing anything about it is even worse because your imagination just fills in, like, you think it could be worse than it probably is.
No, I don't even have any opinions on how bad it could be. It's just kind of like, I don't know anything. People are just kind of like, oh man, it's really shocking. It's kind of like, well, yeah. It's like, yeah, I'll get to it eventually.
Well, in the meantime, Jet, why don't you tell us about what you're doing when you're not recording episodes for Dub Talk?
When I'm not here, you can find me on Twitter at DefineDagger or Jet0Infinity. You can also occasionally find me writing things on a fandom post, still doing My Hero Academia Season 3. And I also occasionally write things on my blog Animation Infinity. I'm trying to do more reviews, so hopefully that works out.
Cool. Alright, thank you. Jamal, what are you doing, man?
Pretty much assistant editor for this channel. I could be found on my other channel, Jamstar1. I have a blog which I've yet to do anything with. Usually too busy with real life.
Oh, curse that real life.
It's okay most of the time. It's just the other aspects of it is kind of a pain.
If only we didn't have to earn money, right?
And if you have any complaints or issues, that could also be found at Mega Man 9000.
There it is.
There is a reason he's called a tasteless joke target, apparently.
Andrew, I love you, but unfortunately, you are very, very easy to tease.
And he's so happy to take it, I'm sure.
I don't know about that.
hey, if I got to be Andrew and it means that I got a copy of Anohana, I would take all of the shit too.
But you didn't graduate from college this year. That was Andrew.
Well, you should have come. We should have known each other when I did graduate then.
That was a long ass time ago. Anyway.
All right, so tell us what you're doing with your extensive free time, Lilac.
What free time?
Extensive free time.
What free time?
The many hours you just you've got hoarding over the entire world and ruling it with that iron fist.
I fucking wish. No. If you're interested in any of my daily life and shenanigans, you can follow me on Twitter at LilacAnimeReview, similar to how Revue Starlight is spelled, because that's how this game works. I can use that this time.
It finally made sense.
It makes sense now. Nobody can look at me like, why is it spelt that way?
Now we know.
Now you understand.
You made a Twitter account 5 years ago in preparation for this show that wasn't even thought of yet.
Oh my god. No.
She's just that forward-thinking, people.
Outside
Lilac Anime Revue Starlight. Sounds nice.
That actually does sound nice. Probably not within the character limit, though. Yeah, that's really the only place you can follow me in any of my weird shenanigans.
Fair enough. And my own weird shenanigans can be followed on Twitter at NoahClue, where cartoons are the name of the game, and we talk about everything that any one of the cool kids are talking about. Like those really cool, that movie The Breadwinner that you should all go check out. I'm just gonna throw that in there for no good reason. I also have a YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/journeytraveler, to be announced, for more stuff to come on that. Who knows what's going to happen? And with that, we are wrapping up production. I think it's time for all of us to go to the rap party. Woohoo!
Yay!
Yes, we have all of the snacks. We have all of the cocaine and hookers at the Dub Talk Theater rap party.
Yeah, I know a good way to end this show right now.
Uh-oh.
And it shall be bestowed upon you the star which you have longed for. Together, we will all do Starlight.
No, we won't. What are you talking about?
No, together we have all done Starlight. We've all done with you, Starlight.
We have. I'm gonna give that a very modest golf clap.
Yeah.
No, that was a better way than I had to end this. I was just going to say I was gonna take all the money and run.
I would have chased after you.
Yeah, you would have. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Go forth and sparkle. All right, Atoka on, my friends.
Bye!
Keep it starry.
Aloha. Did you just say keep it starry?
Yes, he did. He just went there.
Okay.
Whereas with the direction was pretty serviceable.
It's okay.
Banana phone. Wait, I got a banana phone. I know.
Oh God, how old are you?
I forgot the banana nice joke, but
I am 5 years old. Leave me alone.
Hello.